Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
Hey, what is happening, YouTube? It is Gas Mask and Hand Grenades here. I'm your host, Jeff, and look who I've got back. He's come back again for a third. No, this is third time or fourth?
Yeah, third. You've got the trifecta.
Yeah, Mr. Craig Behrhorst is here, and yeah, we did Rainbow, and we did
Thin
Lizzy, right? But he's brought a friend, and I'm going to let you introduce our guest here, this guy right here, Mr. Butler, who is... Right now, he's muted, so unmute yourself there. There we go. Nope. Yeah, you're still muted. What's going on with that? I didn't mute you. I think you did it on your side.
This is the guy that has his own podcast.
Yeah, you're muted on your side, Mike. I can't unmute you on my end. It was weird when I went to go live. I saw your. There we go.
There you go. All right.
There we go. So
I mentioned the podcast pioneer. I know all the tech shit.
Clearly, obviously. So, Craig, introduce your partner in crime here that we absconded and made a hostage for tonight, right?
Mr. Michael Butler, my friend and bandmate in the Butlers. He's our fearless leader.
Yeah. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good. I'm super great. Couldn't be better. Thanks for asking, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. We already went through all this like 5 minutes ago, but so
we geeked out on gear talk. We should have done that.
We were showing guitars, and all my followers saw all my guitars. They're sick of me showing shit off now. They're like, "Go away, dude. Just bring us the music." So that's what we're going to do tonight. We are going to talk about the band UFO, which we are all old enough to have been around, and I'm gathering you guys. I've never seen UFO, so I want to talk about that a little bit. I'm gathering. No, I haven't. No, I missed them. I have a funny story though where I almost saw them. So how I like to generally do this, Michael, is I generally like to ask like where we came in on this band. So I'll start with you, like, and I think you're probably Craig in my age, right? In that range.
I'm older than you guys. I'm 62. I just turned 62, collecting Social Security starting next month if I get approved.
Nice. Awesome.
I saw UFO on the I think it was the Obsession tour, opening for Styx. It was Styx, UFO, and Ram Jam. I think it was 1979, something like that.
Whoa, and, Black Betty, bam, bam,
right before Michael Schenker disappeared.
Okay,
and they opened up with Electric Phase.
Nice.
Never forget it in my entire life.
Now, is that out in San Francisco you saw?
That was Jacksonville, Florida, Jacksonville Coliseum. Styx, UFO, and Ram Jam.
Nice. 78, right?
78? I think it was 78, 79.
79. Okay.
It would have been 78. Yeah.
Well, how did you come into the band? Like, what was your first exposure to them? Like, what do you remember?
Lights Out. That was my first exposure was Lights Out, but then I went and got a back catalog. But I just remember hearing Lights Out on the radio because we had a great rock station in Jacksonville, Florida. They actually introduced Australian rock and roll to the entire country. They were the first band they played, or the first station. They introduced the Angels, they introduced Skyhooks, AC/DC. But anyway, they played Lights Out on regular rotation, and then I got hooked. And then Pete Way became my rock and roll hero.
Your guy, yeah. How about you, Craig?
Yeah, my good friend's older brother was totally into rock, and he's about 5 years older than we were, and he was into a lot of classic rock and deep stuff, and so he had Obsession right when it came out, and then so he turned us on to that album, and I was pretty blown away. And then a few months later on the tour, he took us to go see UFO, and that was in Palo Alto, down here in the Bay Area at the Stanford campus. And there's a place called Maples Pavilion. It's a basketball hall where they had some shows. And then we saw a Sea Level opened up, and that's that guy Chuck.
Chuck Level.
Yeah, he plays. Yeah, Chuck Leavell. He's the keyboard player in the Stones now. He's been Stones,
Right.
and he's there like the leader, but musical director. And then UFO came out and
They headlined.
No, they're middle slot, and they played probably a good hour or so, maybe an hour and 10 minutes or something. And it was just like someone had zoomed this golden god on stage with a white flying V between his legs.
Yeah.
And we were just, I was blown away. And I didn't play guitar at that point, but I was totally like, into like guitar oriented rock. And it was amazing. And then Atlanta Rhythm Section headline, they come on after that.
No way.
And then we saw like about 2 songs of that. And it was like, okay, we're out of here. Yeah, but
so you were not so into them then, apparently.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't even knew the name of the band, and but I didn't even know that song was one of their tunes. But yeah, we left. You're pretty judgmental, man, when you're a teenager like that.
Yeah,
so we're like, we're out of here. But yeah, and I'd find out later in life that with the internet and everything, that was the last show that Michael Schenker played with the band.
No way.
It was October 1978. I don't know the date, but it's probably on the internet. But yeah, that was his last show until they reformed in like 94 or whatever it was, 94, 95.
Did you say you went with your brother, or?
I went with my friend Luke, who's a drummer in Ruffians, and his older brother took us. And because
you were young, man. You've been like what, 12, 13?
I was I was like 7th grade, so I was probably like
12, yeah.
Like like 14 or something. Yeah,
old enough to drink.
Yeah. Old enough to smoke weed.
Smoke weed. Hell yeah.
Drink Boone's Farm.
Yeah. From then on out, man, it was like that band just, hooked me in. So I was just into them and would go see them every time they came and played and buy every album from there on out.
So
from there on out. So you have the latest UFO albums too with Vinnie Moore.
No, I would buy every album up until Misdemeanor, and then Walk on Water.
Exactly. Same with me.
And then that was it.
It's kind of stopped. Yeah.
Unless someone,
So for me and Craig, I think we're the same age. Like I said, I'll be 58 in March. I had to have heard because I lived in Houston, Texas from 76 to 80. I had to have heard Lights Out, or I had to have heard, Rock Bottom or one of those songs. But I really don't remember them until I bought No Place to Run, which was the first album of Paul Chapman. So actually Schenker was already gone. And I remember that song Mystery Train and Letting Go were kind of big hits. And actually, down there anyways, they were being played. Letting Go was being played with Alpha Centauri, which I thought the Alpha Centauri intro was like kind of Rush-like. So I'm like into Rush at this point and Kiss. And I'm like, oh, this is super cool, man. And I got it. And I remember going, I don't know, is this album any good or not? I can't remember now what I thought. But that was my first exposure, was 1980, buying that album with my own money, and bought it on 8-track because I bought 8-tracks back then.
That makes sense.
And then, so here's the story. They were actually opening for Triumph on that album's tour for Progressions of Power for Triumph, 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Got my ticket. It would have been my 3rd concert because I saw Kiss in 79, saw Rush for Permanent Waves in February of 80. May of 1980, I'm all set to go see Triumph, who's still one of my favorite bands of all time. And I mouthed my mom off. And my mom grounded me, tore the ticket up. That was it. And here UFO opened. Now it was the Paul Chapman version, but still. And I found that out later when I got to meet Rick Emmett at a little sort of acoustic gig that he did. We were talking, and I don't know how we even got. I started telling him the story how I've never seen you guys because I was going to see you in 1980, and this happened. And he's like, "Yeah, that's when we had that crazy guy Pete Way opening for." So
He didn't even know they were UFO. He just referred to them as Pete Way.
Pete Way, exactly. He said, yeah, I think it was either Wasted or UFO. And he goes, the more I think about it, I'm pretty sure it was UFO because I remember talking to Phil. So that was my start with the band. And, you know, it was, of course, once I bought that album, though, I started going backwards and, you know, hitting all the classic albums, obviously with Michael Schenker. So, and in fact, for a very long time, I didn't really even realize there was a UFO 1 and a UFO 2 album out there.
Yeah. When you mean the Mach 1 UFO, the space rock. Yeah,
with the space rock thing. I didn't know anything about it until, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago. I'm like, whoa, what's this shit? And
I learned about it pretty quick, and then saw the records, and then actually a friend had one. We listened to it, and it was like, you know, when there's one song on one album side, you're kind of like, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, I like Led Zeppelin, Days Confused, and some other stuff like that, but it just tends to be, I'm more song oriented.
Yeah.
So is Michael. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Michael, but I'd assume that you tasted that.
Yeah,
UFO
first two UFO. What was the first one called? Just UFO
1 and 2. Yeah.
No, the second was Flying or something like that.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Phenomenon was the one that got everybody into UFO.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've listened to them. They're kind of once and done sort of things. They kind of remind me of like Inagata Devita, sort of that kind of 60s sort of jam sort of shit. And it's not really my thing anymore. I mean, it might have been smoking weed and when I was in 8th grade or something, but now it's just not my thing. You know what I mean?
You were into space rock when you were a kid?
Yeah, I was into Kiss, and I got into Crimson and Yes. I got into the prog thing. I'm a super prog nerd. But I love this kind of stuff too. So, well, let me do a real quick little thing here on UFO. The lead singer Phil Mogg, guitarist Mick Bolton, bassist Pete Way, and drummer Andy Parker formed the band in 1968, originally calling themselves Hocus Pocus. They then changed their name to UFO and released their first album in 1970, which is called UFO 1. It's a typical example of early hard rock, includes a heavy version of Eddie Cochran's Come On Everybody. As Michael said, their second album, UFO 2 Flying, reached the charts, but the song Boogie for George from the first album reached number 30 on the German singles charts around that same time. At this time, UFO attracted little interest in Britain or America. Some of their early work was strongly influenced by space rock, krautrock too, to a small extent. After a brief trial run with guitarist Larry Wallace and Bernie Marsden, who actually went on to be in Whitesnake later on, the band recruited Michael Schenker, 16-year-old Michael Schenker from the Scorpions in June of '73. Schenker was he was 18, but the revamped but he was already a well-respected guitarist. They went to a new label, Chrysalis Records. The revamped UFO recorded a non-LP single called Give Her the Gun and Sweet Little Thing with producer Derek Lawrence and 7400 producer Leo Lyons, who was in 10 years after UFO recorded Phenomenon, which highlighted the band's harder-edged guitar sound. Let's kind of start there, guys. Let's start with Phenomenon, 1974, the first album. There we go, with Michael Schenker. Came out in May of '70.
Break out my UFO records. I better go grab them.
You don't have to. I mean, it's cool unless you want to. I mean, it's up to you. I don't have them. I have the.
We'll go records. I got us covered, bro.
I got the CD box set, full box set there. I do have a couple on vinyl that I'll quick show then.
Yeah.
That is the third studio album, actually. First with Michael Schenker. It was recorded at Morgan Studios in London on Chrysalis label. And Leo Lyons, as I said, who was originally the bassist of 10 Years After, interestingly. And let's talk about this album a little bit here. Let's get your thoughts on this album. Michael, how about I start with you? I'm going to ping pong back and forth. Each album will switch it up. That way somebody else gets to go and I'll go last. You guys can switch.
There's a song on Phenomenon called Time on My Hands, which is a fucking great tune, man. It's like kind of a little bit ballady and pop. That's my favorite type of UFO tunes, the That's a great tune. It's kind of a deep cut, but that song is great. That's my favorite song on that. Well, Doctor in Rock Bottom, of course, but Time on My Hands is a great deep cut.
So this wasn't your first album, though, right? This, you said that
First album I ever got was
Lights Out.
Lights Out.
Right. So you kind of worked your way back to this one.
Yeah,
and
of course. Yeah. Well, you
what-
know, once you got Lights Out, you started hearing you heard Rock Bottom and you heard Doctor. And so then when I went back and got Phenomenon, you know, Time in My Hands is my favorite tune on that album.
any other songs on there really jump out at you as favorites? I mean, it's a really strong album, really, overall.
Well, Rock Bottom and Doctor. That's about those. What can you say? About
They're the big hits, yeah.
Craig will geek out on Phenomenon probably more than me. The album cover is great.
Yeah,
we should mention.
Yeah, that was
Hypnosis.
Yeah, they would go
Hypnosis.
on to do many, do the art for many UFO albums.
I interviewed Storm Thoresen, the guy from Hypnosis, on my Rock and Roll Geek
Yeah,
Show
yeah.
podcast before he died. That guy was
Right.
so funny. I brought a stack of Hypnosis record albums and got him to rate each one based on just the covers. I brought the stack of UFO. I brought a stack of Scorpions albums. I brought whatever
Pink
Pink
Floyd.
Floyd, some other ones, and he would throw them across the room. And this album sucks. This album sucks.
I was
I
there
think he
when
liked the
you-
UFO ones the best. Were you there? Yeah, he did an
Michael,
art
you
show.
take it like this. Michael was standing and he'd handed the record. And he goes, "This is a pretty good one. We like this one." He'd hand that album back to Michael, and if he looked one, this is shit. He'd throw it across the room, probably 5 feet away from Michael. And he looked at another one, shit, throw it across the room, like 5 feet away from Michael. He'd go, "This is a good one," and hand it back to him. And anything he didn't like, it was just a frisbee.
That's funny,
That
man.
guy was
Yeah,
right.
and the records are coming out of the, and Michael's like going, "What the fuck?" It's crazy.
If you had to rate this, now I didn't tell you to do this, but I'll drop it on you here, and you can either defer or go for it. But you had to rate this on a 10 scale. Where would you put this album?
Go ahead, Craig.
Oh, me. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like I got to go reflect on all of them, then go back and rate them, maybe. But I mean, I would say, it's probably.
Talk about the songs, Craig. Talk about the songs.
I don't know. I would say probably like like as far as my least favorite or 1 to 10 scale. You're saying?
Yeah, well, no, just go through the songs that you want to notate and talk about. Yeah.
I don't know. It's not my favorite UFO album, but I like it. I think it's great. I mean, the production is very raw. Leo Lyons comes in to work with the band, and it's pretty boxy, flat sound, right?
Yeah, a little dry on the vocals.
Very dry. Crystal Light's a great song. Of course, Doctor's like a classic that would go on to be in pretty much every UFO set. Space Child, I kind of like that song because it was one of the first songs I learned how to play guitar.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then Oh My's all right. Time on My Hands, like Michael said, great song. Built for Comfort, Willie Dixon song. They cover kind of a sleeper. Lipstick Traces is the instrumental, man.
Yeah.
And it's got this sort of country vibe to it.
A little bit of a neoclassical vibe too at the end. It's
it's a trip, man. It's a great instrumental. And then Queen of the Deep. That's another. Isn't Queen of the Deep an instrumental?
No,
it's not. Okay,
no, but he's got that really cool. Isn't that the one that goes? It's got that really sort of gnarly riff on it.
But I think it's not my favorite.
That's
UFO
not it. That's
album,
not it.
I think Michael comes in the band, and the band becomes song oriented, and a unique thing starts happening with songwriting with the band, and I think that uniqueness comes from you got 3 English guys, and you got a German guy that doesn't speak English. And he knows how to write. He hears riffs, and he hears all these cool stuff happening with guitar, but he doesn't really speak English. So he doesn't understand, like, sit down and write a song and like, this is the verse and this is the chorus. And I hear this writing because he's not hearing he's hearing melody, but maybe not from an English standpoint.
Yeah.
And Phil Mogg's probably going like, hey man, okay, do that again and this thing and keep doing this and this part, so that this partnership, songwriting partnership starts. And I think that that's what makes UFO very unique, is partly because, you know, that language barrier, and a guy that's the main guitar player writing these riffs, he's like, doesn't speak English. So it's, maybe he approaches the songs from an instrumental point of view, and then they all hone in and write together. But it's the start of something special.
Yeah. You know, the Too Young to Know, it's a solid leadoff track for me. It's kind of a mid-pace sort of thing, but right away you pick up that this guy playing the solos is pretty special. He just has, and if you go all the way back to Lonesome Crow, where he did those solos on Lonesome Crow, which is a weird, you know, I love that album. A lot of people can't stand it, but I think it's a really weird, krautrocky, strange, you know, acid dripping sort of kind of weird Scorpions album. But the leads on that song, on that album, are fucking killer, man. And that translates over to UFO. And I believe the story was was UFO supporting the Scorpions somewhere, and they saw Michael Schenker, and that was how Phil Mogg sort of coaxed him in.
I think at the time, wasn't UFO bigger than Scorpions?
Yeah,
yeah, maybe it was Scorpions were opening. Maybe
they probably did a show like that. I think maybe I heard one time that I could be wrong, but I'm trying to remember that guy Mick Bolton from UFO maybe took too much acid or something, or couldn't play a show or something, and then they asked, "Can we borrow your guitar player?" And that
was the story. Yeah,
something like that. And then he plays with them, and they're like going, "Oh yeah, this guy." And then and UFO was bigger than Scorpions, like Michael said, so they think they lured him over, and that's how that happened. Worked out for everybody though, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, pretty much so, for sure. So Crystal, like you said, great, kind of a cool little ballad, man. It's got some neat little guitar figures in it that are kind of unique. Great, you know, that crystal light shining down. It's almost like got a gospel vibe to it in a weird sort of way. Dr. legendary. I mean, if you got the second biggest metal band on the planet in Iron Maiden behind Metallica, using that as your entry song for the last, 20 years, I think they've been doing that. Like every time, you know when Maiden's coming out, because the beginning of Dr. starts, right? Killer track. Space Child, really spacey ballad. And what's cool about that is Michael gets into this bluesy solo, but he never really plays like a 12-bar blues solo. You know what I mean? Like that standard boxy solo. He really plays outside the scales a lot when he does what he does, which is magical. Rock Bottom, you know, mega banger. I love Oh My, man. I don't know what about it. I love that chorus. There's something about it that is super catchy. Like you said, Michael, Time on My Hand, really cool. Kind of mostly an acoustic-centric song for the most part. And like it's got a weird sort of country sort of anthemic vibe to it. Built for Comfort, I could do without. Lipstick Traces, cool little semi-neoclassical, like you said, Craig. Cool, a little instrumental. And then Queen of the Deep. You're right, Michael. I did the wrong song there. The riff was not that one, but it's got that real gnarly sort of turnaround when it goes into the chorus. And it's just really cool. For me, it's a 9 out of 10 album. Is it my favorite? No, but it's to me, it's a really, really solid album. So, any other thoughts on that one?
No, I think, it's the start of UFO Mach 2.
Start of something beautiful here. All right. So next album we've got Force It, July 1975. Craig's going to show that one. Studios at Morgan and Wessex Sound in London. Chrysalis again, and again, it's Leo Lyons. We'll talk about that artwork there a little bit. And I did not know this. Say again.
One of the greatest album covers of all time.
Yeah. Great album. Another Hypnosis album cover.
Yes. And do you know who the two people on the front are?
Yeah, they're from some British band.
Throbbing Gristle. Throbbing Gristle.
Yeah, Throbbing Gristle. So that
it's Genesis,
sense, right? Put them on the
Genesis P. Orridge and Fanny Tutti, and they were kind of the start of they kind of Throbbing Gristle pretty much started industrial music along with like Can and Faust and Kraftwerk and bands like that. So, and apparently it was pretty fucking racy, man. Like they didn't want that cover released in the States initially. That they said the cover is a pun. There are multiple taps or faucets in U.S. English in the picture, which is a play on the album's artwork. What am I missing here? Like, what do I not get by that? What's
faucet?
Oh, faucet. Ah, so simple.
Look at all the faucets.
I'm not very smart, as you can tell.
British humor.
It's a little.
I'm guessing
that was there, right?
I'm guessing that was Storm Thorgerson's. Look at there, Handsome Dick Manitoba's calling me. I got to
Handsome Dick. I got to
blow off the call.
Put him on live.
I got to blow off the call. Sorry, Manitoba.
All right, buddy. We got bigger things.
I can get him on the show if you want to.
Put him on,
hey, man. We're talking UFO. Hold on a second.
Put him on. I'd be totally fine with that.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, I'm on a podcast. We're talking about UFO. You got anything to say about UFO? Handsome Dick Manitoba from the Dictators. Everybody.
Handsome Dick, what's up?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, boss. It's Craig's on the line with you too, bud.
In Northern California.
You know anything about UFO?
You mean the band or UFOs?
The band.
I know, let's see. I probably know closer to 0 than 1%.
Okay, there you go. All right, let me call you back when I'm done with it.
You're fired, Handsome Dick. You're fired.
Me and Alex had an amazing get-together so far.
Yeah, Alex texted me yesterday, and I want to talk to you about it for sure.
Okay. See?
All right, and make sure you check and see if your flight's getting canceled because you're on Alaska Airlines, and they lost, they had some issues with a door.
I know.
So check and make sure your flight's not canceled. I'll pick you up at the airport.
Okay.
All right. A little cameo from Handsome Dick Manitoba, everybody. Hey. This is not a rock and roll. This is a different podcast.
How many are you doing now?
Well, Craig and I are guesting on gas mask and hand grenades. We're doing a UFO retrospective.
You know what? I might as well be on another fucking planet.
All right. Well, I'll call you when we're done.
No wonder why you paint out.
Yeah, exactly.
You go for the fumes.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
How about that, folks?
Bye.
What other podcast could you get Handsome Dick Manitoba on the phone on, huh? All right. Moving on. We're going to get into forces here a little bit. So, Michael.
Yeah.
Tell me your thoughts. Get a little deeper into this if you would, man. If you need to grab your albums, go grab them.
I got to go back to my memory banks here. So what's on that? Shoots on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let It Roll. All these songs made it to the live album, by the way.
Yep.
Out in the Street. One thing about this, Pete Way started writing a lot more songs, I think. Started contributing a lot more songs.
Okay.
I think is the reason UFO became as great as they were because of Pete Way writing tunes. What else? Mother Mary, Pete Way, I think he co-wrote that. What else is on that? This Kids.
You got Too Much and Nothing. World Keeps On.
Too Much and Nothing. A Pete Way tune. That's a Pete Way.
That's a great song, man.
Yeah, that's a great album. Again, probably the production's not great, but there's some great tunes on this record.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the production kind of shortchanges some of these songs just a little bit, but
I kind of like, I have to say, I kind of like the dry production and the lo-fi sounding production. It makes there's something about it I like, and I think it makes Phil Mogg's vocals stand out a lot more. And
that's a good point.
I just like it.
That's a good point because Phil isn't like super dynamic. He does one thing really super.
Phil Mogg is one of the greatest rock singers of all time, man.
He is, but I don't think he's like got a lot of dynamics to his voice.
And and later on,
his range is sort of like this,
right?
Right,
like Paul Rogers type guy.
But
he's like Paul Rogers, yeah. Yep.
But his vocals, his vocal tone, his
super rock.
He didn't write dumb cliche lyrics.
No, you're right.
He's a top shelf lyricist, man.
Yeah,
and he writes about romance. He writes about the street. He writes about tough stuff. I can listen to that guy sing all day long. Man.
Yes,
no, I agree. I love him too. I that was not a slight on him. I was just kind of saying he's kind of in a relevant range as opposed to, you know, your histrionic type singers of that era, like a John Anderson.
Some of the later UFO albums, the vocals were like super reverbed out.
Yeah.
I like these dry vocals. It's charming to me. I guess the word's charming, but I like it.
Yeah. So Craig, how about you? What kind of, you want to jump into some of these tracks a little bit here on this one?
Yeah. I mean, I think the production stays about the same as Phenomenon. Leo Lyons is probably getting a little bit better. The band's probably getting a little bit better, but the production is not jumping up huge. But I mean, the rawness of it, like Michael said, there's a magical about the rawness and that sort of boxy sound. And but Let It Roll comes out of the gate, man. I mean, it just barn burner. Shoot comes out. It's got a great riff. It, you know, like Butler said, a lot of these songs are so great they would end up in the live sets all the time, you know, of the classic era. High Flyer is like, a lot of times UFO third song they go into a ballad type thing, and High Flyer is a great song. It's very ballady. It's got an amazing guitar solo that, you know, and you got to, Michael Schenker's guitar solos are loud. I mean, they must have said like, this guy's so good to crank him in the mix, and it just works, you know. Love Lost Love, great tune. I love the line. Is that the song where it's backstage pass really showing out? Yeah, try to catch the band's last song.
And that's the one, that lead tone that he uses.
Yeah.
Very mainstream Bob Seger, but Bob Seger was after. So whoever that guitarist was for Bob Seger stole that tone from Michael Schenker, man. It's got that, you know, that
they're probably both playing Flying V's.
Yeah, singing thing. So good.
But Phil Maud paints a picture with all these lyrics all the time, you know, and out in the street, you know, they would bring keyboards in, and this guy Churchill played some keyboards on it. And what song has Out in the Street has keyboards on it, I think.
Yeah, that's mostly Fender Rhodes on that one, right?
Yeah, and then they're probably, I think, Between the Walls, the instrumental that it ends the album.
Yeah, This Kid's in Over My Head.
I think there's some keyboards on that, but they start to bring keyboards in on this album, and which opened up. You know, Michael was really into that, like, because it would open up, give him a platform of more sound to sort of solo over.
Right. I think that Chick Churchill guy was in 10 Years After, I think.
Oh yeah, sounds
probably, yeah.
But phenomenal album, man. And
tunes.
Yeah, you know, it's just incredible. You know, the V here, that sort of wood kind of red V or whatever on the back. Wolf Hoffman had that V for a long time.
Oh. Did he really?
Yeah, and then Kirk Hammett just bought it from him recently.
Does Kurt Hammett own every cool guitar in the world?
Yeah, he does. He bought it off Hoffman. So a little history, but
nice. Yeah, for me, I really dig this album. I think what I you know, the first album has a lot of killer songs on it, but I hear grander ideas on this album. The composition has started to expand a bit. You know what I mean, in terms of what's going on, and the keyboards do add some heft underneath for Michael to work around a little bit. So Let It Roll, that was the one I was doing. Great track, man. Fucking sexy lead on that thing, man. And I don't know, man, like Michael Schenker, just probably one of, along with maybe Neil Schon, two of the greatest fucking melodic lead players ever.
Michael Schenker keeps getting better and better. He's like Jeff Beck of hard rock and metal.
Yeah. I haven't kept up a lot with his solo stuff because he kind of brings all these different singers in. It's hard to kind of focus in on what's happening. Yeah. But
his singer choice is pretty weak, but his guitar
he's got that box of singers he reaches into and always pulls out. I mean, I love Graham Bonnet and I love some of the guys, Macaulay, but it's like I'm not really. I don't know about you guys. What's that?
I think every one of his singers he's ever had sucked, in my opinion. Except for
you don't like Graham Bonnet?
I don't like any of those guys, but no, I take that back. I love them all. I love them all, but that's kind of why I love them, because they kind of suck.
Oh man, I love Gary.
Another
Barton
one I
and
like.
Graham Bonnet.
I went to, we're going to get sidetracked, but I went to the, I think Craig went to this too, when he had all the singers got up and
that thing.
Was it Temple of Rock? I don't know what it was.
Temple of Rock. Temple of Rock. Yep.
Who was the guy who sang on Armed and Ready? What's the,
Gary Barton.
Gary Barton's.
Gary Barton. He sucked so bad.
He's not good. He's not good at him.
He sucked so bad that he was great. He was so bad that he was good.
Yeah, he lost all his power. He couldn't sing really in key very well.
I loved him.
He's like Bon Jovi. He's like Bon Jovi then.
Yeah. Let's get back to Phil Mogg.
All right, get back to Phil Mogg. So Shoot Shoot, that was the big fucking hit. A great chorus, great riffs on that one. High Flyers, another acoustic ballad. Love that one. Always love that song. Love Lost Love, man. That's again, we talked about it. It's very 70s sounding. That song of all the songs on the album just has that quintessential 70s vibe to it. The lyrics are really cool on it. He uses the word schizophrenia in the lyrics. Come on, man. It's got to be.
What did it rhyme with?
I can't remember, man.
Quadrophenia.
Schizophrenia.
We'd have to look it up. I can't remember what the lyric is.
Some about conversation.
Out in the Streets, man. I love that song. That song kills, man. I love the Fender Rhodes on it. Killer solo on it. Mother Mary, great riffs. This is we brought him up. Actually, Craig, you mentioned him. If I had to say who does Phil Mogg sound a lot like, Paul Rodgers. Definitely that Bad Company Paul Rodgers vibe to his voice. This song in particular really sounds like it. You guys remember that band Kick Axe from Canada?
Yeah.
They did that song, Heavy Metal Shuffle, Heavy Metal Shuffle.
They covered a Fleetwood Mac song too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did The Chain. But this song, Mother Mary, they ripped off the that waka waka sort of wah wah thing. But then, man, got to talk about Too Much of Nothing, man. That song is the song for me on the album, man. That chorus of "But the whole world keeps on turning," so fucking good, man. And
sing that again. Sing that a little bit louder.
But the whole world keeps on turning, and I just roll along.
Sing it.
There you go.
Sing it.
Hey, I do sing on these when I know the
Yeah,
lyrics and stuff. So
you're better than Gary Barton.
Yeah.
I could be. Michael. And then Dance Your Life. What's it called? Is it Dance Your Life Away? I got Dance Your Knife Away. I have a typo here. That song doesn't do much for me at all. Not a huge fan of that song. But This Kid's and Over My Head, man. That last 3 minutes of the fade out section of Michael just going mad. Oh man, it gets kind of proggy, man. I think it kind of almost has like a prog rock sort of vibe to it, man. That's another 9 out of 10 album for me. Just hard to beat these Schenker albums, right?
Great, just UFO, man. The melody, the sense of melody.
I'm gonna go piss.
Yeah, the sense of melody is incredible, and they give you hard, heavy, they give you Mother Mary, and then they give you High Flyer, and they give you just everything. That's why you love all these bands, man, because they conjure up all these emotions of heaviness and slow songs, motion.
But they could do really good rock ballads. All their albums have great. Yeah. And we haven't even gotten to the best one. We're getting there soon. But there's a couple of them actually coming up. But they just did really, really cool rock ballads. And, the thing is, UFO were never a metal band. They were pre that thing. They were pre the Priest thing and the Maiden thing and the new wave of British heavy metal thing. But they definitely helped influence those bands.
Yeah.
There's no question about it, because even if you listen to Priest early albums from before Unleashed or before Hellbent for Leather, they were metal, but they were still rock and roll. They had a lot of hard rock in their vibe, which was more like the UFO thing, in my opinion. So, all right, album number 3. Hey,
Jeff, before we move on, do you want to take bets on how many times Butler's going to take a piss?
Well, I'm getting ready to open beer number 3, which is the best
I
one to
just-
go, so,
I only had one
Maybe at
glass
least-
of wine, so I'm good for now. Is he over under 6?
I'd say 3.
3? Okay.
probably 3 or 4.
Okay.
The bathroom's right next to me, so
Small bladder problem. I have the
Not
same
different.
issue.
I have this cup here that I have used it on
Oh,
occasion.
I have a bottle if I gotta not be able to get up, but I think I can blow one of you guys up if I gotta go and grab a glass of wine or something. So, all right, so let's talk about album numero tres, and I'm sure Craig has that one. It's called No Heavy Petting. I'm gonna be the bad guy here. You guys are gonna be pissed off at me. I am not a fan of their artwork.
Oh man, really? This is amazing.
All right,
This
I
is-
gotta go.
I just don't get it. Like either I'm dumb,
that's
and that could be the case.
that's part of the greatness of it. It's like, what the fuck's going on here?
Genius, man. It's genius.
All right.
Norm
Genius.
Thorgerson was a genius.
Well, I love the Pink Floyd stuff, and I like a lot of his other work.
The UFO Hypnosis album covers were the best Hypnosis album covers of
And
any other band.
And they couldn't have been cheap. They couldn't have been cheap by this time. I mean, this guy didn't work for nothing, right? I mean,
Well, Storm was friends with the UFO guys, and I'm sure he probably didn't charge them that much. Well, he charged the record companies, but
right.
he loved UFO. He called him UFO.
UFO.
All right, let's
Those
talk about
album
this
covers
album.
are great.
This album comes out in May of '76. Studio Morgan in London. Chrysalis again. Leo Lyons back for number 3. This is the 5th studio album. This time they feature a full-time keyboard player as a member, Danny Peyronel. But he only
Heavy Metal Kids.
he only stayed in the band for this one album, but he did a lot of co-writes, and you can definitely tell there's a marked, to me, there's a marked difference to this album, mostly for the good, in my opinion. So talk about this one, Craig. We'll start with you.
All right, I think it's a phenomenal album. I think the production jumps up to a little bit. You know, we have a full-time keyboard player here happening, and there's a decent amount, you know, of keys on the songs. I mean, it starts off a natural thing. I mean, just another hard rock, great riff, great lyrics, about, like venereal disease, right? And you go,
I did not know that. Good knowledge.
yeah. You get into I'm a Loser, keyboards, that would become a huge staple in the set during the heyday era. And then you have Can You Roller, which is a great heavy tune. The 3rd track, usually UFO goes into a ballad around this time.
Let me ask you a question on that one.
Yeah, but it's got the double bass drum, man. And Andy Parker's getting into that. And Can You Roller? I mean, it's pretty it's heavy, man. It's fast. It's kind of like
what band do you hear? What band do you hear that kind of being similar to?
Man, I don't know. Probably some new wave of British heavy metal band.
I hear Rainbow, man. I hear Rainbow big time in that song.
Yeah. Well, Cozy's doing that vibe already at this point. But yeah, because he's the double bass drum king. I mean, Cozy, Andy Parker, 2 different animals, but cut from the same cloth, kind of. But yeah, Can You Roll Her? And Michael's, no one thinks about Michael's slide playing, man.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal, it's just like Richie Blackmore. They forget about these guys slide. And so, it's not phenomenal slide on Can You Roll Her, but there's slide and it's cool, man. It adds such a great texture.
Accents. Yep.
Yeah. And Belladonna is a great ballad.
Love that
song. What's the open letter carelessly placed, like all the, the table, the open letter carelessly placed, like all this sort of romantic stuff that's happening. And Phil's painting a picture with all his lyrics. Belladonna, great song. Reasons Love, man. Insane. The last track on side 1, it's heavy, man. And the lead in that is just, it'll tear your head off. I mean, just go listen to that. It's great. Love that tune. And then side 2, we get into Highway Lady. Yeah, good mid-tempo rocker. It kicks. On with the action. Great riff.
Mhm.
Great UFO deep track tune. One of my faves. And the lyrics just paint a picture of like of youth gone wild, right? Just it's just great.
I love that song, but but the part where it goes on with the action,
I
yeah,
know.
I'm
I know.
always like, what the fuck is that? It's
I know.
so
They
weird.
add those love,
On with the
Is
action.
that Pete Way, Michael? Is that? I always want to think that's Pete Way.
I don't know, but I doubt it.
It's just those. It's got to be Pete Way.
I love that song, but that part when it comes in, I'm like,
could be Leo Lyons doing.
Could
his
be.
thing.
But it's you hear it on Force It and you hear it on this album. Those
I think it's Phil Mogg just trying to expand his vocal.
Yeah. I know it is kind of. It always kind of
weird. It's weird
that much, but a Fool in Love, Frankie Miller tune. It's a great tune. If you go back and listen to Frankie Miller's version, it's fantastic. And Frankie Miller is one of the best singers of all time.
I don't even know who he is. Who is he?
He's a Scottish guy, and he's kind of Bob Seger. Bob Seger loves Frankie Miller. Bob drew a lot from Frankie. Still in Love with You on Thin Lizzy's Nightlife album. The ballad. Yeah. There's Phil Lynott sings with another guy, and that's Frankie Miller.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about that at one point. So A Fool in Love is cool. It's a Frankie Miller tune, and Andy Frazier. Andy Frazier and Frankie Miller wrote that tune, and Andy Frazier, the bass player from Free. And Martian Landscape is just its own song. It's very unique. It's a very unique tune. Like you can't, pinpoint. It's very unique, and it's got that sort of funny, sort of like kind of circusy pop part in it. But it works, man.
Here's what I hear.
Yeah,
these were my notes on that song. It features a lot of cool keys, the keyboard stuff, but it kind of reminds me of maybe a quasi Raspberries Badfinger track. You know what I mean? It's got that pop sensibility, but it's got those vibes of those two bands, which are two of my favorite bands, right?
Good point. I hear it.
How about you, Mr. Michael Butler?
Well, Craig pretty much said everything about it. This is not my favorite UFO album. I like it, but I have to say I'm a Loser is one of my favorite UFO songs of all time. And Natural Thing is great. I don't go back and listen to this album that often, but, I can't really say much more about it. Craig pretty much said everything.
All right, well, it gets off.
Not writing Pete Way. Did he write any songs on this album? I don't think he did.
Actually, no. No, he didn't.
He co-wrote Natural Thing, I think. But yeah.
Oh, he co-wrote Natural, yeah.
I like the album. It's got classic UFO tunes on it. But it's not one I go back to that much.
Well, Natural Thing, man. I mean, that's their boogie barroom rocker. But the cool thing is, even though it's got that ragtime piano, which I'm usually like, I hate that kind of shit.
It's got a great riff.
I love it on this. It's got a killer riff. Yep. And but there is a weird thing in here that Phil does at the end of the chorus. He like mumbles or talks. I don't know what he's saying.
Natural Thing?
Yeah. What the hell is that? That he's kind of mumbling at the end there?
I haven't heard the studio version in a while.
Yeah, he does like this mumbling sort of thing as the chorus is fading out and they're going back into the verse. And it's just very weird. I never quite understood that, but I love that song otherwise. I'm a Loser, really cool track, one of my faves. It's kind of got an AOR vibe to it a little bit. It's kind of more like almost radio friendly in a lot of ways.
It's catchy as hell.
Yeah, super catchy.
Mog's vocals on that song are fucking great.
Can You Roll What I Said sort of has that rainbow vibe to it, especially the chorus. The solos are fucking awesome on there. Again, it's got that Deep Purple rainbow sort of thing. I don't know about you guys, man. I love Belladonna. Man, I love that ballad. I think it's such a brilliant track. There's harpsichord stuff in there. It's probably not a real harpsichord, probably synth patches. You got a lot of cool acoustic stuff in there, some neoclassic stuff happening. It's just, to me, it's amazingly melodic. And, when he does that, out of reach, out of touch, how you learn to hate so much. It's just like, it's so good. I love that chorus. We get to reasons. Oh shit! Lost my notes there. Hang on.
You made notes. I
Yeah, man. I go all in on this shit,
I would
man.
have come across with more knowledge if I would have had notes.
You got to remember, I've got a neurological issue, so I got to kind of keep myself sort of in check here. But anyways, Reasons Love is sort of a ripper, man. It's like a speed metal track almost in a weird way. If you could go there with, and a lot of those cool diminished chords when they go into the transition before the solos. Super killer. Highway Lady, nice boogie rocker, AOR vibe, like it. It's got a pretty memorable chorus. On with the action, we just talked about. On with the action. I love this song, but that every time they do that, it gets me like it catches me off guard. If I haven't listened to it a lot in a row. But it's super fucking killer song. Schenker, the Schenker wank on here, superlative. And then you got Full in Love, which I didn't know who that guy was. It kind of sounds like a Whitesnake song in a weird way, like 1980s later, like 87 era Whitesnake song on that one.
I'm sure that David Coverdale was influenced by the same people.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt.
Frankie
And then we
Miller.
talk about, sorry, man, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he loves Frankie Miller. Yeah.
And then Martian Landscape, dare I say a prog track for UFO. Sort of elaborate, features a lot of cool keyboards. Like I said, I hear Badfinger and Raspberries all over this song. But for, what is this? In terms of the pop sensibilities, but, again, it's kind of like they're one of their more proggy tracks. Really dig that song. For me, the keys for this album really accentuated the more experimental nature of some of the songwriting, and you could argue they got a little bit more AOR on this album, just a smidge, but it's there, but it's good. It's good AOR, So all right, we get to the album that Michael first bought and got into, and let's dig into Lights Out, which came out in May of 1977. Now I love this. This cover is really cool. It reminds me though. It reminds me a little bit of Quark Strangeness by Hawkwind. The cover's very similar, and I'm not.
Maybe, I don't know if Storm did that album.
I'm thinking he might have.
No, this is Hypnosis. If you want to, this is Battersea Station in London.
Yeah.
The album
Animals.
Pink Floyd Animals.
Right.
You see what the Battersea Station looks like from the outside. Well, this is what it looks like on the inside. And so I guess they were able to go in there and do some stuff, but not my favorite of the UFO album covers. But yeah, it's a
little gay.
Yeah, I don't know. it's all right, man.
Storm I'm telling you, that's the same thing. Look, that's Quark Strangeness right there.
Yeah, what a trip, man.
It's the same thing.
Hypnosis always had a little bit of a gay tinge in their album. They had a little bit of this sense of humor, like little gay sense of humor in their album.
Genesis P. Origin, Fanny Tutti on the cover of Forsyth, very notoriously, very in the gay culture, in the homosexual
I did not
revolution.
Know that. That's good.
Yeah.
There, Jeff.
Well, actually, Genesis was a man that became a woman then before she died. So she was one of the very first transsexuals. I'm just looking to see. I bet my life that is. Go ahead, Craig. I'm
all ears.
Yeah, go ahead. Jump in on this album, then I'll see.
Michael, you start in on this album.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
It is Battersea.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I think this is the best Michael Schenker UFO album that they did. Most people, I guess people would probably say Obsession. This is my favorite Michael Schenker era UFO. It's not my favorite UFO, but I love this album. Every song, I love every song in this album. And the album closed. I'm not going to go through every track because we'll be here for fucking hours and hours. My wife's upstairs. She's going to fucking kill me because I made her leave the room before we did this show. So, but anyway, every song on this album I love.
Craig, you didn't warn him, did you?
Ah,
4-hour show.
Not 4. We won't be here for.
3-hour tour.
I'm going to try to get you in under 3. I promise. Promise.
Listen to the last song on the album, Try Me. That fucking song, that solo at the end of that song is Michael Schenker's best solo of all time to me. That's a ballad. I'm gonna hear try me. All right, fuck it down.
Take me for a little while.
Say it's over, and you leave me with just a smile.
Yeah.
Ow,
Great song, man.
That melodic solo at the end of that album is one of the best album closers in the history of album closers.
Actually, it's not a closer. It's on. It's third track.
Side one.
Side
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that song is fucking great. That gets me to this day. That song tears me. Doesn't make me cry, but
awesome ballad, man. Awesome ballad.
We
were saying that when you stepped away for your first piss.
I've only taken one so far. I'm getting ready to have to go again.
I know. That's why I said your first piss. Craig and I were talking about how UFO just did these fucking killer hard rock ballads, man. Like very few bands could really match up to the quality of
Listen to that solo. It's a perfect solo because it builds. The solo itself is a song. It builds from a little melodic, slow little thing, and then it ends on just shredding, soulful shredding, and it's so fucking good, man. But Electric Phase, one of the heaviest songs of all time, the great riff. I saw them open for Styx, and it was a song they opened with. Ladies and gentlemen, UFO. Oh, man. And then the slide. We're the Electric Phase.
Great jammy track.
I'm not going to go on about this album. This album's fucking great.
Is this your favorite or no? You said it's not your favorite.
My favorite Schenker UFO album.
It is. Okay. All right. Okay.
My favorite UFO album we haven't got to yet.
Okay. Craig, why don't you give us a rundown and do it for a second. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab some wine.
Got to piss.
Right.
No, I got to grab some wine.
All right. Well, hold off, man. You go do your thing.
All right. Now he's gone. Now we can talk about him. That mother.
No, I can still hear you.
God damn that guy. He's going to keep us here all night.
Oh, God. That fucking guy would never leave. You see that wart on his nose? Holy shit. God, I couldn't stop looking at it. I wasn't looking at his nose.
Yeah. He's a Prague guy, man.
No, but every song in this album, man. What song? Alone Again. That's a cover, I think, right? Yeah, that's my least favorite, but every other song I love on that album.
What I get out of the album,
Love to Love, come on.
Oh yeah, and Love to Love is I think Steve Harris had said one time that that's his favorite song
of all time.
Yeah. So anyway, with Lights Out, what I hear happening is well, I don't know. Should we wait for Jeff?
Nah, look, he's listening.
He can hear. So I hear production going up. They bring in Ron Nevison. They got a new producer.
That's right.
So Ron Nevison comes in, and another thing that happens.
Who else was engineering? Mike Klink engineered.
Yeah, Mike Klink engineered it, I believe. And so the production goes up quite a bit on this album because Ron Nevison steps in, and also you get veteran utility player. Paul Raymond comes into from Savoy Brown. And he's experienced. He's a veteran, man. And so he comes in, he adds to the songwriting, he adds to the texture of the sound. And you're saying Michael songs like Tried Me, those piano part that's like pulling on your strings, right? And so yeah, I think it's great. It opens up with Too Hot to Handle, which would become one of their biggest hits.
That's a Pete Way tune.
Yeah. And yeah, another great Pete Way, Phil Mogg co-write. That would be the single off this album. And then Just Another Suicide. Very unique song.
Yes.
It's a great tune.
That's a cover. Is that a cover? No,
it's Paul Raymond.
Cover, yeah.
And then it's you would think it's just written by Phil Mogg, but it's got so much piano in it. But do you know why?
No, Raymond's on that.
Raymond wrote it. Do you know why? Because here's the thing, Raymond's not getting credit on this album, and he's writing so much stuff with these guys.
Oh, he
but
doesn't have credit on the vinyl, so they don't on. He's not listed on the vinyl.
No,
as credit?
because he was coming from Savoy Brown, tied in. It's a legal thing,
Right, yeah.
so they had to keep his name off the songwriting for some publishing reasons. And so,
at least that's what they told him.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hey, the new guy. But anyway, yeah, that's very yeah, it's got Paul Raymond written all over it.
Well, and the orchestrations on that piece are amazing, man. They're so good.
Because Ron Nevison's adding strings to it, all this stuff now. So Try Me and that stuff, there's all this string stuff's happening that's making it sound, giving a whole nother texture, a sophisticated sound, and like I said, a very polished sound. So that's happening on this Lights Out album. Try Me, I don't need to say too much more because Michael already talked about amazing song. Lights Out, Barn Burner, you know. And it's great because it's like Lights Out's the name of the album, but it's like the last song on side one. You know, I like the way they position it, you know. And then the side two's Getting Ready, a great upbeat sort of mid-tempo tune. Great tune. Alone Again is the second song on side two, and that's a love song from that Los Angeles band Love. And you know, when I first listened to it, it was kind of like, you know, I'm a teenager. I'm kind of, you know, pretty young. Like, it took me a while for that song to grow on me, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, but do you know the original though? The Forever.
No, I didn't know the originals, and that happens with a lot of stuff when you get.
You know it now though. You know it now. Right? Man, I mean, nothing touches that. Nobody covered, but they do a nice job of covering it. And not trying to fuck with it too much, but that's a classic fucking song, man. Like,
with the horns and all that, very unique song. And they do it pretty much. They sound like UFO playing it. They don't fuck with the arrangement. They don't act with, you know, the thing that stands out is Michael Schenker's guitar playing. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And then Electric Phase, such a unique heavy tune, and Michael's got the slide guitar, more slide guitar, and then it ends with Love to Love, which is one of the best songs ever. And I don't know if you heard me and Michael talking about it, but
no,
Steve Harris had said one time that was his favorite song.
It's brilliant. It's just a brilliant, amazing.
And you know that Paul Raymond wrote some of that tune. You know, I mean, the guy is so accomplished musician. He's coming from Savoy Brown. I mean, he
would, but it says Schenker Mog, but who knows?
You know, but that was one of those things where he wrote a lot on this album, but he couldn't be put on because of legal reasons. He's probably coming right out of Savoy Brown and tied into some whole other publishing contract. So the publishers would have gotten all the money for these songs, and the guys in UFO are probably like, we don't want to give our money up to your publishing company and blah, 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 blah. So they probably did some, like, you know, sleight of hand deal or something like that. But anyhow, yeah, Lights Out, man. 1977, golden age of rock and roll.
Yep.
And it's a great album.
Yeah, man, Too Hot to Handle. It's a staple. It's got that great chorus, man. Go for it. You know, because I'm too hot to handle. It's so good, man. I mean, you can't listen to that and fucking not be shaking your head and fucking, you know, getting into it, right? Just Another Suicide. I love this song, man. It's pretty AOR for for where they were kind of going. But it's just got a memorable big sound. It kind of reminds me of like maybe Who's Next or Quadrophenia era Who.
Yeah, it's got that guitar.
Yeah. The guitar in particular, for sure. And then Try Me, beautiful ballad, man. So gorgeous. That again, Michael's playing just unbelievable. Lights Out. Dude, I mean, come on, man. Is that not one of the greatest fucking rock songs ever?
F sharp.
Yep.
It's just fucking. Well, there you go. F sharp, man. Boys,
the heaviest of all chords.
Boys are back in town, and you know that Alex Lifeson chord. But yeah, so fucking killer, man. Getting Ready. I love this song, man. It's just so, I don't know. It's so upbeat, and I'm getting ready. Da, 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 da. I don't know the words, unfortunately, but love that fucking song. Again, that's kind of a sweet Badfinger sort of vibe to that song.
Uplifting, you know?
Yeah. It sounds very Britishy though. That's a mega banger, man. Of course, the solos are amazing. I do dig this cover, even though this is Love. The album Forever Changes is probably in my top 3 albums of all time. Like I love that album more than Air some days. And it's like, so anybody covering any love song off that album, I'm like, oh man, just don't do it. But they do a nice job on it. They don't try to mess with it. And like you said, Craig, the best part of it is Michael Schenker is playing on it, but he doesn't overplay. He doesn't get stupid and start, racing around the fretboard. He just does what Michael does. Great melodic soloing on it. Electric Phase, killer jammy track. Lots of soloing on that. Pretty laid back. Actually kind of a mid-tempo. It's heavy, but it's not like, it's not like super speedy, right? And then Love to Love, man. Man, they have so many great songs, but I'm not sure this isn't their best song. Maybe for me anyways. I just think it is a stunning fucking song, man. It's an epic power ballad, it's the counterpoint melodies in it are amazing.
Well, next to Rock Bottom, if UFO live, if they didn't play Rock Bottom, there'd be a riot. And if they didn't play Love to Love, there'd be a riot.
Right.
Those are 2 songs they have to play.
Yeah. You guys said, have you seen them multiple times then, or just was that
many times? Many times.
Yeah. I've seen them from almost every tour.
Like where are they? What size venues are they playing now compared to?
Well, last time I saw,
not playing now, but now they're doing clubs.
Yeah, last time I saw them, they played on that Last Rites tour. It was their last tour. They played at the Great American Music Hall in San Francisco.
Okay, yeah.
It's a place that the Butlers play.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, and it holds probably I don't know, like 800 people.
I was thinking 800, yeah.
About 750 and something like that. And they packed the place, and they had brought because Paul Raymond passed away. They brought Neil Carter back into the band, who joined the band in 1983. I think 82. And he really gave him a kick in the pants, man, because
Neil Carter.
He plays guitar. Yeah, he's his utility man, right? And he also plays sax too, Yep. But I just felt like he kind of came in and gave them a little kick in the butt, man. Like the songs are getting played a little bit more at the speed of the albums.
Didn't they pull out some? I didn't go to that show, but didn't they pull out some Neil Carter era tunes?
Yeah, they played some stuff off Making Contact, Mechanics. They played a little bit of everything. I think they opened it up with Ruby Darling, I need you to tour the car.
Talking about one of my favorite albums, so I can't.
And you tell me that. Chorus after chorus, just anyway.
Phil sounds pretty good still.
Phil sounds great.
We Belong to the Night, or
We Belong to the Night. Yeah, amazing song. But I got sidetracked here. But UFO. Seen them a bunch, opened up for them. Ruffians opened up for them like 3 different times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a couple times here in the States, and then I opened up for them in Europe. And it was just a gas to be able to be on the same bill.
In the 80s? Guys. Was this in the 80s?
No, this was 2004. We played with them. 2005, we played with them. Played with them in 2004, 2005.
I've interviewed Pete Way probably 3 times on the rock and roll on my podcast. Also interviewed his wife like a few days after he died. I also had Phil Mogg has been on the show too.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Those guys' sense of humor is insane. Phil is just a comic at all times. And so is Pete. When we played with them in Bang Your Head Festival, and Alice Cooper's on the bill, UFO. All these different bands. I was just like, if there's anybody I got to go hang out with, the 2 days that I'm here, it's Pete Way. So I went and found Pete Way, sat down, talked to him. Me and Mark Osagueda from Death Angel were hanging out.
Oh, nice.
And he was just a riot, man. And he was just torturing his road manager, like, where's the fucking cocaine? SPV, the record label, said they were going to give me my fucking cocaine. And then he looks at us. Hey, you blokes got any cocaine? And we're all, me and Mark, nah. And then he looks at the road manager again, starts torturing him. And he's all, and the road manager guy goes, well, Pete, we got to go do this interview right now. And with this magazine, he's all, fuck the fucking interview. I want my cocaine. He goes, you go get Jason Bonham to do the interview. He's a UFO now. He thinks he's a big fucking rock star. and the road manager goes like this. Well, Jason he's on the way to the airport to fly back to England right now. And then Pete's all, oh, so is he on my fucking time? Huh? He's in UFO now. And he's just, and he looks at us. He goes, so what are you guys doing? Like, where are you? It was so. I mean, it was.
Was he still using back then, or was he joking around?
I don't think he ever stopped using.
I don't think he ever really stopped. Yeah. He was always dabbling, but I mean, it was just my time with him that day was just. I mean, it was just priceless, man.
Yeah, you got to pinch yourself when you get moments like that where you're like, fuck, man, I'm with my hero. So
Pete Way's the definition of rock and roll. There's nobody more rock and roll than Pete Way.
Yes.
Yeah, he definitely lived it hard, like Lemmy, man. Those were
you got the Pete Way book? Butler?
Yes, I do. I have it right. Let me go look see if I can find it here.
Hey, Butler, can you bring the Les Paul and the Pete Way book to the next Butlers practice, please?
It is right there.
Is that the Ross Halfin?
I think that picture of him snorting coke off his guitar cabinet is in this book somewhere.
Is that the Ross Halfin book?
Yes, Ross Halfin.
I gotta get
nice. Very cool.
Yeah,
all right.
Bring
it. Yeah. So anyway, we both seen UFO countless times,
many times.
Right. I'm the only guy that hasn't. I mean, it's just the way it's worked out. So, but yeah, I'm giving this album a 9.5. I really dig this album a lot. It's still not my favorite though, but it's right there. It's like right there. So let's jump in.
It was probably the first one you ever heard, but I said your favorite is probably the first one you ever heard, but
no, it's not at all. No Place to Run, not even close. No. Nope. It's this one right here.
Yeah.
I told you everybody's going to say Obsession is the best Michael Schenker era.
I just think it sounds the best, and it's got some of the best songs on it. But we'll get into it. So Obsession comes out June of '78 at a bunch of different studios, including California and Beverly Hills, Los Angeles. So they were brought over here. Ron Nevison's involved now. Chrysalis. Did he do the last one?
He
did
Lights Out.
Yeah, he did. You're right. Yep.
Production came in.
And like I told Craig, Mike Klink, the famous Mike Klink, was the engineer on those.
That's right.
Nevison albums.
So this is the final studio album with Michael Schenker of the original Schenker era, but he does come back after a bit. And this one here, they released a single from the album, Only You Can Rock Me, back with Cherry. And they also did a 3-track EP on this called Only You Can Rock Me, Cherry, and Rock Bottom. And again, the album was recorded in an abandoned post office in Los Angeles.
They brought in the mobile truck, and
yeah, they were.
It's a very live sounding room.
Now.
Very live sounding room that they recorded the basic.
All right, Michael, give me some thoughts on this one here.
I played with this guy Ginger from the Wild Hearts for a few time, and Mike Klink came in and we recorded a song, and Mike Klink produced it. And when as soon as he walked in the room, I said, I don't give a shit about Appetite for Destruction. I want to talk to you about Obsession. And he goes, man, he got pissed off. He goes, that album paid my bills. Fuck you. But yeah, I love this album. I like Lights Out better, but this, I mean, all Cherry. What more you need to say? Cherry. Pete Way wrote a lot more songs in this album. I love this album. There's not much more to say except this. I love the album. I like Lights Out better, but there's great tunes on this album.
What's your favorite tune off of it, Michael?
Cherry's my favorite, of course.
Okay, so
looking out for number 1, part 1 and 2.
Yeah, it comes back. Yeah,
reprise.
Yeah,
I think Paul Raymond wrote those.
And actually, the interesting thing about the reprise is it almost sort of sounds like a Queen song. It's got that Brian May guitar tone thing going on for me.
This was the last one that Schenker did.
Right.
And
Till he comes back for Walk on Water in
I
'95.
saw him. Yeah, I saw them on. Like I told you, I saw them on this tour, and Schenker left maybe like a week after I saw them play.
And Craig saw the last show, right? You said
with Schenker.
Yeah, in October.
Yeah,
Palo
I remember the interview. I remember listening. I think I heard it on the radio. They were interviewing Phil Mogg. Yeah, Phil Mogg, and he said about Mike. They were asking him about Michael Schenker, and he goes, "Michael Schenker's motto is me first, then you." And I'll never forget that saying. And I kind of took it as my own saying, "Me first, then you."
But that's not far off the mark.
Yes.
I mean, if you ever listen to interviews with Mike, he's not very bashful about telling you about how he's written all the greatest songs. And he's written a lot of great songs. Let's be honest. You know,
great guitar player.
You know,
the album cover, I like the album cover. There's other the Hypnosis album cover. There's also another Hypnosis album cover that nobody knows by a band called Halloween. Pink Bubbles Go 8.
Yeah.
And this album, the album cover is a little bit like that album, like the cover of that album.
Yeah, it's very digital arty looking.
Yeah, it's got the
era,
bubbles,
right? But it's pretty digital. But I mean,
bubbles.
So what's interesting is he's on
Why
the
are there
cover.
no bubbles on me?
But I'm wondering why did Michael Schenker demand that he be on the cover?
No.
They just did it like that, and then he thought that it was, of course, like a way of Phil and Pete
making fun
taking
of
a jab at him because they're always torturing him, and in their own little way. And why me? No bubbles. And then, but that's just how Hypnosis did it, and there you have it.
Yeah, I can't say anything more about the album, but it's a great album. I love it, but I like Lights Out better. But it's a classic album, and I love it.
And
all right, Craig, hit me with your best shot.
Okay, this is my favorite UFO album.
Of course it is.
I've gone back and forth a few times on stuff, but it's got everything. It's got the hard hitting, just great riffs. It's got heavy. It's got a lot of amazing guitar player with nicely placed fills. It's got acoustic guitar on it. It's got a ballad. It just gives you everything, and I like the production. And there's strings on it. There's a lot of strings on it.
Strings.
It just goes.
With the exception of the live album, this is everybody. This is most UFO fans' favorite UFO album.
Yeah, but so anyway, only You Can Rock Me. This would be the hit off the album. It would get some airplay, not as much as Too Hot to Handle, but it definitely got some FM airplay. And it has it's got a little bit of everything. It's got a good hard rock, bluesy rock riff, but then it's got like great keyboard sounds, and it's got that anthem guitar solo that comes in and it just grabs you. So it's a great opening track, and then Pack It Up and Go. I mean, second song starts off with some drums, and just the guitar fills on Pack It Up and Go are just insane. I mean, it's like, this is the best guitar to air. This is the best guitar to air guitar too.
Oh, yeah.
The best album to air guitar too. But
next to Double Live Gonzo.
Yeah, right. But Pack It Up and Go, great.
Point.
Arbery Hill has an Arbery Hill's a short instrumental that comes in, third song right out of the gate, and it's got Schenker playing the recorder. The recorder on it, which is kind of interesting. And then I Ain't No Baby is just
great one.
It's a kind of a slow, dramatic tune. And I had heard, could be rumor, but once you hear this, it makes sense. So I heard I Ain't No Baby was Phil taking a jab at the Babies, because the Babies were signed on Chrysalis Records as well. They were
getting more attention from the label than
they were produced by Ron Nevison as well. Yes. They were a British band as well. UFO and the Babies are fighting it out, right? And so I had heard that maybe something got said about UFO, and then Phil turned around and wrote a song kind of jabbing them. And if you listen to the lyrics, it's from that standpoint, it's pretty neat.
If I could interject just for a sec.
Yeah.
Going through my notes, and noting these tracks, looking out for number 1, I'm like, wow, this sounds like a huge Babies vibe track. It just sounds like it came off Head First.
That's
which
probably
is not a,
Ron Nevison.
which is not a. You're probably right, but it's not a bad thing because I think Head First is a great album.
Yeah,
but it definitely has more pop sheen to a few of these tracks, and that one in particular, I'm like, fuck, this sounds like John Waite even a little bit when he's singing.
Yeah, and John Waite's an amazing singer, man.
Oh yeah,
but UFO just has they just have kind of, you know, lyric wise, music wise, instrument wise, they got one foot in the gutter still, where the Babies, you know, are still kind of all in on the pop sensibilities. And don't get me wrong, I love the Babies, man, and Head First is a fantastic
killer album. Yeah, it is,
and their best album.
Yeah,
and
I disagree, but that's okay.
What's that?
I disagree.
Oh yeah,
that being the best
Union Jack.
No.
Broken
Heart.
Well, yeah,
Heart.
you know what? I think you're probably right, Michael. But
we're not talking
my
about
favorite,
it.
and then Head First, maybe.
Yeah. We're gonna get sidetracked.
All right,
my wife
that's right.
Kill me, man. We're
All
now.
right.
His wife's gonna divorce him.
All right, here we go. We have a barn burner on side 1. This is what you did when you did albums. You had a side 1, you had a side 2. Side 2 starts off with another barn burner, Hot and Ready.
And if you notice, let me interject. Sorry, Craig. You notice back then, bands put out albums with almost every song was great.
Yep.
Now you're lucky to get 1 or 2 tunes.
Yep. Very much so. Yep.
Yeah, the song number 3 on side B of a classic rock album from the 70s.
Yeah, it's better than the hit of every other album.
If anything coming out now, it's like, you know, the song that you're kind of like, you look back like, that's a great fucking song now. You know,
albums were 40 minutes long and they were all fucking top to bottom classic albums.
Bangers. Yep.
That's why the 70s were the best time and will never ever be a time like that.
Agree, man. And we're all lucky enough to have been there, right?
Yeah, the golden age of rock. And it's like, you know, you put 10 songs on it, you put 8 or 10 songs on an album.
Any band from the 70s, any hard rock band in the 70s, quality, they were putting out all quality albums.
Yeah, good stuff.
I agree.
But, yeah, good point. So yeah, Hot and Ready's killer. Cherry, it's got that classic Pete Way bass riff. Very unique song if you think about it, and it goes up and down. The dynamics of the tune are amazing. And this is what these bands have. They have dynamics. They give you everything. They give you heavy, light in one song, you know, and it's incredible. You Don't Fool Me. It's another great tune, great guitar. It's a very mid-tempo kicker. Looking out for number 1. It has the strings and all that very polished Ron Nevison production. Then you go into One More for the Rodeo that's got that cowbell and that driving, just that driving beat, and you know, just classic Phil Mogg lyrics. And then Born to Lose, the last tune on the album is it's just great. It's a ballad type tune. It's got great guitar, and it's just all incredible.
That's favorite. Another very babyish track. That's a very baby track right there. Yeah. Yeah, I'll run through mine quick here. Pack. Only You Can Rob Me. I mean, come on, man. It's a rock staple, man. It's kick ass. That chorus is amazing, especially when he does it. You know, only you can rock me. But then he goes into the We Can Wait Another Day.
What's cool about that tune is Michael Schenker's melodic playing right over the vocals.
Yes. Yep. Awesome. Pack It Up and Go, man. I love this song, man. I think it's a kick-ass fucking ripper, man. It's just the solos on that song are screamers, man. They're just sick. Armory Hill, like you said, I didn't realize that was Michael Schenker on the recorder. I wondered if that was a keyboard, if it was a recorder, but you just answered that for me. It's neat. It's got a Scottish Celtic sort of vibe to it, right? Like almost, it sounds English, old English or something. Ain't No Baby, man. Super killer, vicious blues track. Michael Schenker's fills and solos are all over this thing. I really think it's one of Phil's better vocal tracks throughout his career, or at least on this album anyways. Really a standout smoker, man. I love that track. Looking out for number 1. Like I said, it's got that Phil sounds sort of wistful and very melodic. Got a huge Babies vibe from it off the Head First, which is A-okay with me because I love that album. It's a great AOR track. And the strings on that song, so good, man. Hot and Ready, hard rocker, along with Pack It Up and Go. Wee bit of a Southern vibe in there, a little bit of a Southern rock vibe. And then I hear like White Snake era slide it in, which was after this. So clearly David Coverdale was listening to what was going on around that time because he was still doing the blues thing and he transitioned over more like the 80s metal thing.
And just to interject real quick, it's like this is all sort of European, British sounding music, right? And so these people are listening to the same stuff. And Michael's playing is very European, British, blues-based guitar, right? He's not playing. It's not coming from an American standpoint. From
that Allman Brothers thing or something.
Yeah. It's very. It's drawn from some of that stuff because Dwayne Allman's listening to the blues guys, and so are these guys. But yeah, it's so that's a banger.
Yeah, Cherry's a great song. Really cool harmony vocals on that, which is not something you heard a lot early on. Phil didn't do a lot of harmony stuff until this album. It's where it kind of starts a lot. Looking out for number one, Reprise. Like I said, sounds like a Queen song. In fact, Schenker's guitar tone sounds super Brian May on that one. One more for the rodeo, man. I love this track. Love this song. Just funky, killer riffs, stadium rock, anthemic sort of stuff. The coda for that song is just fucking killer. I'd struggle to say that's not my favorite song on the album. It's a 9.75. I love it. The production is awesome. Songs are uniformly high, and there you go. So we then get to this one, right?
Yeah.
So this is an OG that my buddy Chuck sent me from a collection that he was sort of doing his thing with. So I hadn't even played this because I have the CDs. I love these old record jackets with the.
Yeah, there's Roy Gallagher.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. The Babies, Roy Gallagher.
Rory.
Nick Gilder.
Hot child in the city.
I bet Frankie Miller's on there too.
Those are all Chrysalis albums.
Blondie, the Babies, Oracle. I don't know them.
Turn it over.
Steve Hackett, Roy Harper, Amanda Lear, Leo Kottke, Trevor Rabin. There you go. Frankie Miller. There he is. Racing Cars. I don't know that. Mary Travers, Jethro Tull, best heavy metal band according to Trower, man.
Chrysalis hard rock record label. Owned the hard rock back then.
And then UFO right there.
UFO.
So let's talk about this album real briefly. One of the greatest live albums
of all time
ever.
One of the greatest live albums ever.
Oh, look at that.
That's when Michael Schenker left. He officially quit the band during the mixing of this album.
Right.
I asked Mike Klink about that. He said, everybody has a. He told me that he asked Michael Schenker to fix a guitar part on Rock Bottom, and that's when Michael Schenker got up and left. Is that the legend? That's what Michael Klink told me. That's what Mike Klink told me.
And also they were picking solos that he didn't like. He said he thought they could have picked better versions. And but then again, me first, then you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's like a 6 CD. There's like a big box set of 8 CD. Yeah, I have all the. Somebody sent me the MP3s. I couldn't bring it to myself to purchase them all.
I hate to say it.
I can't sit down and listen to all of them.
I hate to admit it, but I just bought it tonight.
There you go. You bought it for this episode.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't buy it for this episode, but after I started listening to it, I'm like, I think I better own it. It's only $45. It's 8 CDs. It's 3 complete shows and then a remastered remixed version of the original. I don't listen to a lot of live stuff, I will tell you, but two of my favorite albums of all times, this one and Frampton Comes Alive. And because that's where we grew up. That's the era I grew up in. The 70s was the king of the live albums, even though we know a lot of those live albums weren't exactly live. They were fairly live, but not exactly live.
Some of them were, though.
Yeah.
I think Frampton's was, and I believe UFOs pretty much was too, and Ted Nugent Double Live Gonzo also was.
Then you got stuff like Unleashed in the East, which wasn't at all, or
and Kiss.
Or Kiss, or fucking
Life Dangerous has some overdubs on it.
Live and Dangerous. Exit Stage Left is literally fucking overdubbed to hell. So yeah, so let's jump on to No Place to Run, my first UFO album that I bought with my own money, the first one I was aware of. Yeah, that one, Craig.
Yeah, here we go.
All right,
great album cover.
Hey, this is not a Hypnosis cover.
I know it's not, because my Hypnosis never put the bands on the cover of their albums, except for one band. I can't remember which one he said he did, but Storm Thorgerson hated putting bands on the cover of their
Love
albums.
Pete Way's leopard jacket, though.
Oh,
yeah,
great in front of this was during the gas crisis back in the 70s when
the OPEC thing, late
70s,
70s,
when there was a gas crisis, long lines, so that's why they did it in front of the gas station.
Oh, it says no. Hold on, I stand.
Hypnosis?
I stand corrected, and this makes sense because of what Michael just said. Is cover photos by Hypnosis.
There you go.
So there you go. But yeah, so they probably this was they're probably reluctant. The band probably goes, we want our photo on the cover of this album,
or the record label.
Finally, and they probably reluctantly said, okay, we'll do it.
And that was recorded produced by George Martin.
Yeah,
that's right. And at his studio in Montserrat, right? Air Studios, which I don't know if that still exists or not now. I think the one in Montserrat's gone.
Not sure.
Yeah, or it's like turned into a whatever, a luxury resort or something. But that was the place where everybody was going, right? In the 80s. Everybody was going down to Montserrat, to Compass Point, to do their shit at Air Studios. And had two singles, Youngblood and Letting Go. At the time, I thought, this is per Chapman, I thought that No Place to, and obviously Schenker leaves, they bring in Tonka Chapman, and he played in, what was the band? Not Wild Horses.
Lone Star.
What was it called?
Lone Star.
Lone Star, right. He comes in, and he says that he felt that the sound on this was not very good, but when they remastered in 2009, he felt it was better. This is my first album, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think of this album. Go ahead, Mike.
My favorite era of UFO is the Paul Chapman era. So I love all three albums that Paul Chapman did with UFO are my favorite three UFO albums.
Wow. Man,
wow.
Unpopular opinions.
I think they were at their artistic peak during those three albums. Wild the Willing and the Innocents is my favorite UFO album. But
I love that album. Love it.
I love this album. My favorite song on the album is a Paul Raymond tune, Take It or Leave It, ballad. Take it or leave it, or leave me behind. Fucking great. I love this album. I love this album, man. I can't say anything else, but I fucking love this album. I love UFO when Paul Chapman was in that band. Paul Chapman fit great.
Well, let's be honest, man. He was filling some huge footsteps or footprints, right?
He did a great job.
I think he did a killer job, man. I mean, I do not feel as strongly about this album as you do, Michael. I think it's kind of a middling album, but it's got some killer songs.
This is my least favorite of the Paul Chapman era.
Okay. It sounds like they were trying to. It sounds like they were trying to figure out the songwriting duties, like who's going to do what
on this album. I think the songs are great. Pete Way started really contributing to songs at this point. I think
he does.
Maybe because of necessity. I don't know, but I love it. What's the songs? Let me try to. What are all the Craig, name out the songs?
So we got Alpha Centauri, Letting Go.
Yeah, great. Two great tunes. Pete Way.
Train is
the fire. This fire burns tonight.
That's a Paul Chapman tune.
Yeah. Gone in the Night. Great guitar
tune.
Youngblood.
Pete Way tune.
No Place to Run. Great tune.
No Place to Run. Great tune. Pete Way.
I like that one a lot.
Money, Money.
That's a Pete Way tune as well.
Got
Any
filler.
Day, also a Pete Way
Any
tune.
day.
Any Day is great tune. Yeah.
I love this album. Love the album cover. Love the album. The beginning of the artistic peak for UFO, in my opinion.
What's interesting about Alpha Centauri is it's sort of almost like a Tangerine Dream meets Gary Weaver or what's his name? Gary Wright Dreamweaver sort of vibe, right? It's kind of got all the spooky, like, electronic things going on, which they never really did that any other time on an album. And like I said, when I first heard this band, that they played that into Letting Go.
Yeah,
And
usually, didn't they do that? Didn't they? Wasn't that like a intro tape?
I would think it was. Yeah.
Like when they came on live, they played that as an intro tape,
Right.
and then they would come out with Letting Go.
But Letting Go is killer, man. That is a killer fucking
Great riff,
and man,
great riff.
Chapman's solo straight burns on that song, man. He just burns.
Chapman in a way was a little like Schenker in some parts, but Chapman was his own guitar player, and he was fucking so good, man. It's his tasteful solos. Like that was great.
I like the way that Chapman too. He would, like I said, big shoes to fill, but he would come in and even when he played the Michael stuff, he did his own take on it. He would change things. He would hit key parts like you can't play.
Right.
You can't change the guitar solo to Only You Can Rock Me.
He played a non-reverse Firebird too.
But he would play. So that was cool too. But he would play. He would do his own take on it, and it just worked. And it was kind of showing, hey man, I'm going to play this in this position. I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and it was still just burning. He's a ripping guitar player.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it was weird. I didn't actually realize. I knew Raymond had passed, but I didn't realize Chapman passed like fairly quickly after him, man.
Like a few years ago.
No, 19 and 20. Raymond was 19 and Chapman was 20. I was shocked by that. Chapman was living in the States, teaching music down in Florida.
He played with Molly Hatchet for a short period of time.
Did he really? Molly Hatchet. Holy shit.
This was in Florida.
I could see him doing that though, because he could do that. You know what I mean? Like, could you ever envision Michael Schenker playing with Molly Hatchet?
When you get to be older and you don't have a career, you do gigs like that.
You take what you can get. Mystery Train. I love that song, man. I think even though it's a cover,
great cover, man. The acoustic thing at the beginning is phenomenal.
Oh, that acoustic playing is killer, man.
Yes.
Killer.
That shows how great Paul Chapman was.
Yeah.
And then when it gets heavy,
it's almost like I used to think weirdly, like when I bought this album, I got it right around the same time I got Blackfoot's Marauder. You guys remember that album?
I love Blackfoot.
Fucking love that album, man. Love Ricky Medlock, right? And it always reminded me of like Train. It just had that same sort of vibe to it. But
that's exactly
yeah. So This Fire Burns Tonight, solid, catchy track. 4/4 groove rocker. It's not bad. I don't love it, but I like it. Gone in the Night. I like this one, man. It's a bluesy, darker sort of. Well, I think Raymond's plays on this or wrote this one too, didn't he?
I think Pete Way. I could be wrong, but I thought Pete Way did. I don't know.
You're right. It says Morgan Way. So Raymond plays a lot of cool keys on that one. Youngblood, I'm okay with it. No Place to Run. I really like that one. I think it's one of the better tracks on the album, man. Chapman fucking kills on that one.
Yeah, they were doing more ballady stuff, but the songs are so catchy.
I think Anyway is pretty good too. It's a good closer. It's kind of heavy. And he kind of got some crunchy power chord stuff going on. So how about you, Craig?
I feel the same way. Pretty much what you said, Jeff. I mean, the trippy instrumental opener that a lot of spacey. A lot of European bands did that, and it goes into Letting Go. But yeah, Paul Chapman comes out of the gate and says, "Hey man, I'm here," and he comes out with the solo of Letting Go. It has a blues thing, it has ripping, it has everything. Mystery Chain, the Elvis Presley tune, that Sun Records tune. They do it great. This Fire Burns Tonight, what a catchy tune! It's a really great song. I mean, they're all good. Youngblood, the opener, I'm not that fond of it. It's almost like they're trying to it's got that 50s sound, It's almost like that 50s Youngblood song. I think the Coasters did it or something. That song Youngblood. Look at him. Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to draw from that vibe, but make it their own. No Place to Run has the reoccurring melody down, 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 down. So like Michael Schenker would do. Paul Chapman comes from that same, background where it's like, melody. It's all about melody, reoccurring theme. There's something that you can grab onto throughout the song that makes you, feel comfortable and love the song. Take It or Leave It, that little short song that Paul Raymond did, great. Lyrics are great. Great Phil Mogg lyrics. And Money Money, it's not my favorite. Any Day is a great tune. I think it's a great album, man. I think it's trippy that George Martin produced it. I think I like I said, I like it.
I like it. I don't think I like it as I would only give this like a 6.5. I'm not.
You're wrong.
I know, man. Sorry, Mike. I know you're never gonna come back.
The more the more you listen to this album, man, you can just listen to it and get into it. Other than songs like Money Money or Youngblood, I mean, there's some deep stuff going on though. I
just felt like on this album, Mogg and Way weren't sure which way to go. Like they were trying to figure out, what do we do with this new hotshot new guitar player? How do we incorporate him a little more? Because he doesn't write as much. Chapman doesn't write much on this album. The next album he writes a lot on. And you can definitely tell the difference. Although the next album definitely sounds more 80s. I really love the next album. It's in my top 3 or 4 albums of their albums. I think it's fantastic. But I personally feel, you guys don't feel the way I do. I just feel like they were struggling a little bit with where do we go here. I did listen to it 3 times, and it didn't, like a couple of the songs that they kind of went in one ear and out the other. They didn't grab me. And you can tell, Craig, I get into this shit, man. I dig deep, and
for sure.
I look for comparisons, and I hear things. And I just couldn't hear much on this album other than maybe 4 tracks that made me go, okay, I really dig this album. But because it's UFO, I kind of erred on the side of caution. I went with a 6.5. Maybe it could move up. But let's move on to Wild Willing, because we don't want Michael's wife to hang him tonight. He's got a gig to play soon, or a few. So let's jump on to Wild Willing and the Innocent, and that is January of 81. Do you have that one, Craig? There we go. Now, is it my imagination? Yeah, is it my imagination, or is there something going on from like what was that movie from the 80s where the dude's watching the girl in her apartment?
Yeah, I don't think Hypnosis did this cover, did they, Craig?
I want to say they probably did. It looks like a Hypnosis cover to me. Yeah, of course.
Okay, good.
But do you guys remember that movie where the dude is like looking through his binoculars, watching the girl in her like penthouse loft of this spacey LA apartment, and it's Double Exposure? No, what the fuck is that called?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
I don't like movies.
But this ain't Hypnosis's best album cover,
But what's being implied on the front of that cover to you?
Sex, S&M, some sort of weird sexual,
some sort of rape thing, or something really weird, right? Yeah.
Some welding.
Well,
some sort of rape thing.
I didn't want to actually say the word, but I said it out loud.
Just some passionate sexual encounter. I don't know.
There you go. Well, is that the Wild? Is it the Willing, or is it the Innocent? We don't know. So.
Go ahead, Greg.
Well, they bring in Neil Carter from Wild Horses. He replaced Paul Raymond, who left to join MSG. And after a disagreement with Phil Mogg. However, according to Paul Chapman, Carter, though credited on the sleeve, did not play the keyboards on this album. We produced it ourselves with nobody breathing over our shoulder. Only problem was it cost twice as much because we kept changing studios and re-recording stuff. After Paul Raymond's departure, I tried to get John Sloman involved because he could sing, play guitar, and keyboards, and was just out of Lone Star like me. He did play on the Wild album, but most of the keys are the brother of engineer Gary Edwards until Phil sacked him. We finished that album without a keyboard player, then got Neil Carter in. So, let's get into this one, Michael, because you said this is your favorite.
I think this album's a fucking masterpiece, man.
Killer.
Every song is fucking great. I love this album. Every songs. Chains.
Oh, so good.
Pete Way tune. Long Gone, Paul Chapman tune, I think.
Yep.
Great song. Wild, the Willing, and the Innocent, great song. Another Paul Chapman tune. It's Killing Me. Oh, come on. Another great
Love that song. Love it.
But every song on this album is great. The last song of the album, Profession of Violence, kind of a rip-off of Try Me. The solo.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
But that song is so good. I'd pay $1,000 to see them do this album top to bottom.
$1,000?
Well,
that's not going to be enough.
Not with Vinnie Moore playing guitar. We'd have to dig up Paul Chapman from the grave and Pete Way.
Oh shit!
But yeah,
that would cost more than $1,000. I'm just saying.
I will not go see UFO again with Vinnie Moore in the band. I don't care.
All right, I gotta ask:
how many farewell tours they do? I ain't.
Let me ask though, why is that? Because Vinnie's a good player, but he just doesn't fit, or what?
He looks like you, Butler.
Ruined the fucking band. Sorry.
He does look like you. You guys look like.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Well, no, I'm serious. What, like, because I don't know these albums that
UFO don't need no shredder in their fucking band. I'm sorry.
Okay.
If he would stick to doing the songs how they're supposed to be done, it would be fine. But he's got to put his what's his name again?
The Wank.
What's his name again? I forgot.
Vinnie Moore.
What he's got to put his Vinnie Moore spin on it, which I don't blame him for doing. But the Vinnie Moore spin on UFO sucks.
He's got a bit over processed guitar. He's over processed guitar talent,
and he's fat.
All right, let's not get personal now. Come on. See, Craig, this was worth having Michael on just for this alone. I'm going to get sued for this, but it's awesome.
Craig's heard me go on about Vinnie Moore. I did it at their show. I stood at the Independent. Last time I saw him in Independent, Jerry James Nichols opened up. Was that who opened? I think. I was pissed off. I was pissed off yelling at the band from the back of the venue, not from the front, but from the back of the venue because I'm a pussy. But I was pissed. I was angry at the band because of Vinnie Moore. He stopped doing the UFO style. He stopped paying tribute. It was all Vinnie Moore's take.
It was all about Vinnie then. Okay, yeah.
I mean, he was good. Show, and it sucked.
Vinnie was good when he was doing the solo thing. I was kind of surprised when he joined when they got him to come in. It was
Vinnie
kind of
Moore
weird.
is a fucking generic shredder. Screw that guy.
He was on the first Vicious Rumor album there. That's a good album.
It's a Shrapnel Mike Varney thing.
Shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He's not. He simultaneously saved UFO and ruined UFO at the same time.
That's an interesting take. I like that one. That's pretty cool.
But back to Wild, the Willing, and the Innocent. It's my favorite UFO album. Every song is great. Profession of Violence is one of the greatest UFO songs, even though it's a ripoff of Try Me. It is a great song, and I think it's a masterpiece. Every song is great. My favorite UFO album. It's this was Phil Mogg was into Bruce Springsteen at this time. There's a great article about this album in an issue of Classic Rock magazine a long time ago, and they do it, as you say, a deep dive into this album, and there's a lot of good history about and fun facts about this album. Really well written article. I wish I knew who wrote that article, but I can't say enough great things about this album. It's my favorite UFO album, and I'm the only person in the world who thinks this is his favorite UFO album. But I'll go to my grave saying this is the best UFO album.
I think it's a very, very, very good album. It's not my favorite, but it's in the top probably 3 or 4. It's definitely in the top. It probably is number 3, actually. And because the quality of the songs are just there. They're awesome. Every song is fucking killer on this album. So, Craig, how about you? Talk about this one.
I think it's fantastic. I'm with Butler. It's not my favorite UFO album, but my God, it's just amazing. The band's just peaking with their songwriting, and Chapman comes completely into the fold at this point.
Yeah, he's in. He's all in at this point.
He's getting all into the band like, you know, a house on fire. But you got to remember that, you know, Paul Chapman was in UFO with Michael Schenker before Phenomenon for a while. So they were playing live before they got, you know, kind of did the Phenomenon album, and it was a 4-piece. They did shows together, and but then I think they kind of figured out is a mutual thing. I think Chapman and Michael said, "Hey man, this is a one guitar player band," and I think Paul walked away, and so yeah. But that's an interesting little fact. But every tune on it's great. The opening song, the production. I mean, for UFO to have produced this album themselves, they were taking notes along the way.
Yeah,
and they did a fine job.
It's a good job. Yeah.
I'm sure the engineer helped quite a bit too. But it's an important part of the puzzle. But yeah, the production's amazing. Long Gone, it's great. Wild, Willing, the Innocent. It's such a song that takes you to so many different places. You know. There's got some good bouncy drums happening on this album, and lots of songs like Couldn't Get It Right, which, you know, Andy Parker's adding a little bit of musical feel to his playing, his drums, you know, and he's like playing parts, you know what I mean? And I think that really adds to the songwriting. Let's see, It's Killing Me. That's the last track on side 1. I love the fade in on it, the way the song fades in. Super sexy, man. And Metallica did covered it on one of their acoustic shows.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
now here's one of those songs that reminds me, as I'm listening to it, I'm going, man, this kind of reminds me a little bit of Tom Petty.
Now it's a little bit like Breakdown.
It's got the Breakdown vibe to it.
All right, if you love me.
Exactly.
Your eyes give you away. They give you away. Mashup of that of those two songs.
It's true. But UFO is still darker. You know, there's a darker
accidental ripoff.
Yeah, probably accident. UFO is darker. You know, they're not. But Phil again painting a picture with his lyrics. Making Moves song opens up. It's kind of like another change, another ripping opener. But you know, Making Moves starts off with this sort of weird intro that sounds like, where's it going? You know, no, and then it goes down, down. So it's you know, they give you everything again. UFO. Lonely Hearts got some saxophone. So first time you hear saxophone,
I like it. I love it, man. I'm a sucker.
Album, and you could be either kind of going, what? Or
I'm a sucker for 80s sax and rock. Man.
But it's cool. It's just a little bit of sax, and it comes in, and it's something different. It's something neat. Couldn't Get It Right. I love the bouncy drums. Great song. Profession of Violence. Great closing song. And the way that it crescendos up with the guitar, it's incredible.
Who's that guitar solo at the end of Profession of Violence remind you of?
Michael Schenker.
I'm sorry?
Reminds me of Michael Schenker.
Nah.
Santana?
It does, but one other guy. Come on.
Santana? Neil Sean? I don't know.
Gary Moore, man.
Yeah, of course.
That's a Gary Moore solo all over it, man.
Yeah.
Parisian Walkways. Oh, fuck, dude.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I love this album. Chains, kick-ass opener, man. That chorus absolutely rips, man. Just, it's so fucking catchy, man. But it's still rock, man. It's not like lame-ass fucking bullshit. It's still a rock song, right? Long Gone, you got that arpeggiated intro there into that heavy rockin' verse. Really killer track, ripper. It sounds more like a Schenker era song. That song to me sounds more like they took it off Lights Out or something. Man, totally dig the shit out of that song. Wild Willing, a lot of cool orchestrations on there. Builds on the acoustic riff. You know, really cool intro fill. And then you get that oddly almost proggy. It's kind of like a proggy song in a weird way to me. But it's cool. Man, it's killing me. We just talked about it. The Heartbreaker, you know, it's so Heartbreaker, but it's It's awesome, man. It's so good. Love that track, man. Love it. Love the way Phil sings that song. It's so badass. Making Moves, you know, that sounds like a radio sort of play, that song in particular. But it's good. Chapman's solos are smoking. Lonely Heart, I guess, that was the radio song, right?
I don't know if any of these tunes were.
I think
I think it was a single.
They're not getting on the radio much at this point.
Well, it's definitely a single, but here you go. So they're going to censor me for this, but listen to that song with the 80s sax thing going on. I could see this being in a Brat Pack movie, you know, like Rob Lowe and Demi Moore in the back seat of a Porsche getting, you know, they're getting busy. Fucking, you know, Rob Lowe's about to put it to Demi, and in the front, poor Andrew McCarthy, he's driving, and this song is playing over, and he's looking in the rearview mirror going, man, I just want that to be me, and it's not. That's what I hear in that song. Sorry, it's just what I hear.
Right.
Couldn't get it right. That's almost like a hair metal intro, right? That has like almost like a fucking maybe a little bit of a Live Wire sort of vibe to it, right? Like Motley. And then you get
fuck Motley Crue too.
Fuck Motley Crue.
Fuck Vinnie Moore and fuck Motley Crue.
Motley Crue, the most overrated band in rock.
Oh, I know. You know, I'm not a fan. I'm just saying that particular song reminded me a little bit. Profession of Violence, man. Gary Moore, Paul Chapman. Yeah, love this album. It's harder and grittier. You know, in a weird way, though. Okay, so don't get pissed. Don't throw shit. Don't fucking go bananas on me here, Butler. Do you kind of hear a bit of I would call it a much harder rock Bon Jovi album here? Like Fahrenheit 7800?
I don't know that album, but okay, maybe Bon Jovi ripped off UFO. I know they didn't rip off Bon Jovi because Bon Jovi didn't exist back then. So.
Well, no, they came out at the same time. When did this album come out?
I can guarantee you
81.
UFO was not influenced at all by Bon Jovi.
No. I'm saying no. That's what I'm saying.
Bon Jovi might have been influenced by Bon Jovi could have very well ripped off,
yeah. Bon Jovi, Fahrenheit 7800.
You guys are talking about Bon Jovi. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Everybody has to take a shit now.
Yeah. I'm about ready to go for number 4. So whoever.
Because I'm a cowboy on a steel side.
They probably didn't intentionally rip off UFO this album,
right.
But you know, I can imagine it happened. I'm sure Bon Jovi and those guys
are aware of it. Yeah.
Everybody in hard rock was aware of UFO, and they still are. They will never, ever be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No, they won't. You're right.
Not even considered.
Go take a piss, Butler, and we'll reconvene then.
That's all right.
You all right?
Let's go on to the next album.
All right, let's move on.
We're almost 2.5 hours now.
Now we're at 2 hours.
What is the next album?
Talking Mechanics, February 1982. Craig can show when he gets back. I have it on this.
What do you think of Mechanics?
I like it. I like it way more than I thought I would like it. In fact, I like both these.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Before you were preparing for this episode, had you heard Mechanics?
Yes.
Okay.
But did I listen to it a lot? No. So when I started to prepare for this, I went back and I'm like, okay, I got to dig into these albums because I knew all the 5 Schenker albums. I knew Strangers, and I knew the first 2 Chapman albums. I did not really know this album. It's quite a good album. There's 2 or 3 songs on here that are bangers, man. Serious bangers.
Mechanics?
Yeah. I know so many people who think this album sucks. And those
Now the artwork kind of sucks.
Yeah, the artwork's terrible.
I love that artwork.
I give it a 7.5 out of 10.
I guarantee you this is not Hypnosis. Let me take a look.
No, it's not Hypnosis. No way.
I guarantee it.
No.
It's pretty shitty.
It is so infantile and basic that you have. It's kind of like Gary Barton. It's the Gary Barton of album covers.
It's like that sort of 30s like you could like, you know,
Yeah.
I believe if I heard right, or if I remember what I was told, it was a parody of those World War II posters.
Yeah. And the music press advert for it said, the tagline was, "Mechanics, it will tighten your nuts."
Right. Yeah, that was stupid.
So immediately after this, though, Pete Way leaves
Yeah, to
to
join
join Fast Eddie Clark to do Fastway, which
Yeah.
that first Fastway album.
but not immediately after, because I saw UFO several times on touring for this album. And
It says after the accompanying tour. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
He's on the he does plays the tour.
I saw him open for Rush touring with this album, and I also saw him in Orlando, Florida with it was I think Ozzy.
Which Rush tour was that? Was that Signals or
Atmospheres, maybe? What album? I don't know what album was when Mechanics come out? 81?
82.
What
That
Rush
would have
album
been
came out in 82?
would have been
Spirit
Signals.
Radio? Signals. Okay. I don't
Yeah.
I'm not an authority on Rush.
I'm a Rush dude.
I saw him at least 3 times on this album during this album cycle. They were great. The production on this album's not fantastic. It's not one of the best produced albums. Who did this album? Did the guy
Gary Lyons?
Gary Lyons comes back.
Yeah, and the production's not great. The saxophone all over this album, by the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of sax.
There's sax on the opening track.
Sax and violence.
Is he on the Rider? The Rider is the opening song. Is the sax on that?
The Rider, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love this album. My favorite song in the album is a Pete Way tune, "Let It Rain." Most people probably think that song sucks. I love it.
That's the popular song. It's good, man.
3 chords. I love this album. It's one of my favorite UFO albums, and most people don't like this album, but I love it. Those are the 3, the trilogy, the Paul Raymond trilogy. Love all 3.
How about you, Craig? What do you got?
I think out of the 3 Paul Chapman albums.
What did I say? Paul Raymond? I'm sorry, Paul Chapman.
Yeah, out of the 3 Paul Chapman albums, this is my least favorite. The Rider, it's great, it's cool, it's got a great riff, it's a good song. But then, you know, when you hear like Something Else as the second song, you know, the Eddie Cochran tune, you're kind of thinking like, is this not a good sign, man? You know, and it's like
I like this version of Something
Else. It's pretty cool. And then Back Into My Life is a great, fantastic song. I love it's got the country vibe, you know. Kind of
when it outros the 3 chords. Dun, 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 dun. No, that's Doing It All For You.
Yeah.
That song is so good.
You'll Get Love is an all right tune. Doing It All For You. That's not.
I love that song.
I'm doing it all for you. Bum, bum, bum.
To me, that's the best song on the album.
That's pretty cool. I just made this, of course. But We Belong to the Nights. Great, amazing song. It's the Barn Burner opener on side 2.
Okay, that's the one that I said. That's the one I said sounds like Livewire from Crew.
That also sounds like a Thin Lizzy tune. What's the Thin Lizzy? Dun 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 dun.
Ready to Rock, yeah.
Ready to Rock,
yeah. But Let It Rain's great. Terry's a good ballad. I like it.
Terry. I love that one.
It's a good tune. Feel It. I can't even think of how it goes, but it's not.
Feel it. You feel it.
I don't think that's probably one of my least favorite tunes off the album.
For me, after Terry, it really starts to tail off.
And Dreamin's a good tune. I like it. I like that. You know, any Phil Mogg, you know, sort of like, you know, melodic, these choruses he writes and these great lyrics and verses. I mean, I can hear him sing anything. He make any song sound pretty darn good. But I can hear where some stuff's slipping right here. And this is when these 70s bands are going into the 80s. They're having
trying to be relevant.
And sometimes they shoot themselves in the foot. But I think that UFO is still being UFO, though. I still think that they're, you know.
I think they were still in their artistic peak. You know, Neil Carter wrote a lot of the tunes on this album, didn't he?
He's involved in a lot, yeah. Chapman too. Chapman has a few rights on it too.
Yeah, Neil Carter's. He's on a. Yeah, he wrote quite a few
1,
tunes.
2, 3. Yeah, almost everything actually.
But
one-
yeah,
like
Good
Craig
album.
said, when Neil Carter came back in the band for that quote farewell tour, they did a couple songs on this album from this album, didn't they?
I
Yeah,
I
they
saw
did.
Neil Carter play with Gary Moore. Do you remember when he played with Gary Moore?
Yeah. I saw that
Back,
tour.
back on the Corridors of Power tour when he opened for Def Leppard.
Yeah, and then they did. He opened up for
Victim.
Rush when I saw him.
Yeah, Victims. Yeah.
Victim, yeah, good album, man. I like it. You go.
So for me, the writer, it's a really strong opener. It's heavy. It's dark. Love the chorus, the sax in it. Great chorus. Something else, I just can't get into that song, man. Can't get into it. Back in My Life sounds like a heavy Springsteen or Tom Petty song in many ways. Not a bad track. I like the female backing vocals, which is kind of a new thing for them. You'll Get Love. Strong song with some really solid chorus, groovy, hefty verses. A lot of good Chapman fills in that. Doing It All for You is the one song I love, man. Gritty, brooding. That up-tempo transition in the chorus is really quite a good one. Man, for me, it's the best track on the album. For me, easily. We Belong the Night, basically a tried and true live wire crew feel to it. I'm sorry, but this was before Crew. Well, actually, when did this come out?
Before Crew. It was before Crew.
Well, 82, you're right. And I think Crew came out 80. Well, no, Crew came out in 82 too. Live wire.
Trust me, UFO did not rip off Motley Crue.
I'm pissing Michael off. I'm pushing the buttons here. All right. So, yeah, because that came out in February. I don't know when. Was it Too Fast for Love? I don't remember.
Doesn't matter. There's not an original bone in Motley Crue or Nikki Sixx's body.
You don't live. You guys are like ex.
Everything
like ex buddies,
ever
right?
did was a rip off of somebody, and that's
true.
From somebody who rips off everybody. I should know.
Wait a minute. Is the band named after you, Mike, or no? You and your brother, or what?
No, Craig. The singer Graham, his last name is Butler too, just by some strange coincidence.
Oh, but you guys, okay, but you're not related. Okay.
No, I came into the band later. They were already called the Butlers, and I came in. That's why.
Were you there before?
No, he's got it all wrong.
All right, what happened? Tell me the truth.
Tell
me the truth.
I'll tell you the short version. We sat around a table talking about 1,000 different names, right? No one could come up with a name, and I forget who it was. I think it might have been Eric Land. I said, let's just call the band the Butlers. And I think Michael Butler goes, no, don't do that. And because, he can be modest. And then right when he said, no, don't do that, then everybody said, yeah, that's the name of the band.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
So we thought it was fun. It was like the Butlers delivering rock and roll. And it was like, we're all going to be, the Butlers, like we're all the Ramones or something.
Well, how long have you guys been doing it?
For a while.
Long time. We're the best cover band in the world.
I've seen the covers. You guys do a great job. I told Craig when I come out to San Francisco, you guys got to have me up to sing a song, a Phil Maud song.
Come on up. Come on up. We're doing Dr.
I could do that one. You got my buddy, my boy, Mr. Tom Draper's filling in for you guys.
Yeah, Tom Butler. Yeah, he's part of the family now.
Tom Butler's a hell of a guitar player, man.
I can't jump around as much because he jumps around. So I got to lay back because if you got two guys bouncing around like fools, then you got two fools. So I pretty much lay back when
you just stand around, right?
I just kind of
John Entwistle stand around, okay? Believe
John
me.
Entwistle back there, right?
I've sit in a chair when Tom comes and plays with us.
All right, so back to this. We Belong to the Night. Again, I talked about being a crew thing. Let It Rain, big radio hit. Very babies-ish, kind of, but on the chorus, but
that's a Pete Way tune. It's a great tune.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. Carrie, kind of sappy ballad.
Jeff, did you ever hear Pete Way's solo album, Amphetamine?
I have not. I've heard Wasted.
Do yourself a favor. Listen to Amphetamine.
Does it come with cocaine though? That's
Mine did not.
Yours did not. Okay.
Did not. But
It's
yours
been
did.
since 1986, so I'd be kind of out of my element. But
Anybody who has not heard that Pete Way solo album called Amphetamine,
go check
do
it
me
out.
a favor and get it.
All right, so Feeling It, groovy jammer, nothing exceptional, but still a pretty decent track. That's kind of how I feel about the last 3 tracks. I give it a 7 out of 10. It's a much better album than I recalled, but not as good as Wild Willing. It's just not as good. I'm sorry.
It's not as good. Wild and Willing, the Innocent's great. Is way better, but
all right, so we're at the last one, Making Contact. Then we'll briefly touch on the last reunion Schenker thing, and we'll get you guys out of here in 2.5 hours. That's a Hypnosis. That has to be, right?
I don't think so. No, it's not.
No?
Nope. No, Alan Alder is what it says on the wiki.
He just was stealing from Hypnosis.
Probably. I don't like this album. I couldn't tell you any songs on this album because I've never gone back and listened.
You have to revisit this, Michael.
I will. I'll take your
mind. This is a great album.
I'll take your word for it. I'll have to go listen to it.
Back in the days, like when you start losing, UFOs lost me after Wild and Willing, the Innocent. Mechanics, they start losing me. Making Contact, they kind of lost me. But I came back and grew to love these albums, man. I mean,
I got to go back and listen to it then. Neil Carter wrote a lot of tunes, I think.
I mean,
there's
some better songs. Pound for pound, I think that pound for pound, I like this album better than Mechanics.
I got it on vinyl. I have to.
I'll tell you that lead-off track, "Blinded by a Lie." That's a great fucking song, man.
Great song,
man. Like, and the solos, absolutely fucking smoking, man. That's a gem. It's a pop metal gem. It's got a little bit of the hair metal vibe to it, Craig. Wouldn't you say just a little bit?
I don't know. It just sounds like good UFO kicker, man, with a good chorus and a good pop sensibilities, man.
And then you got Diesel in the Dust, which is a stomping intro riff, man.
Great guitar.
Yeah.
And the lyrics like paint a picture like, like someone got murdered in the small cowboy town and no one's talking.
Way's not in the band anymore, right?
No, he's not.
That's probably why I didn't listen. Paul Gray came in.
Paul Gray, yeah.
Who we just saw Paul Gray in a
diner.
Yeah, diner, breakfast diner.
Wait, who did he play with before? Where did he come from?
He's playing with the Dam now.
Oh, yeah.
It was he and Captain Sensible were sitting at a booth. And Captain Sensible, everybody recognizes Captain Sensible from the
yeah.
Craig walks up. Go ahead, Craig. Tell him it's fucking great stuff.
We're at a diner. I'm looking at this guy looks familiar. This guy looks familiar, and I realized, oh, it's Paul Gray from UFO.
Everybody recognizes is
So I walk up,
but he didn't recognize Captain Sensible. He just recognized Paul Gray.
I walked up. I don't even recognize Captain Sensible from the Dam, and I just go, "Hey, are you Paul Gray?" And then Paul Gray goes, "Guilty as charged." And then Captain Sensible starts laughing, and I had said, "Yeah, man, I met you once, like on the UFO misdemeanor tour when you guys played in San Francisco. We're hanging out." And then he's all right, And then Captain Sensible starts laughing. He goes, "Oh, your heavy metal days, huh?" And because he's playing in the Damned.
Yeah,
and
right.
So anyway, nice guy. We're talking, and we were there doing the Manitoba date. So they were like, tell Richard that we said hello. Tell Handsome Dick, and so they were really excited that we were like playing with them.
Was this in San Francisco, or where were you at again?
We're in New York.
Oh, New York of all things. Yeah.
So then I sit down. So I don't know how I did it, man. Yeah. I had a photo. I had a photo on my phone of me and Paul Gray from like 1985, and I showed it to him. And then Captain Sensible grabs the phone. He goes, "No way!" And so it was just funny. It was a funny encounter.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Are they? Where are they? The Damned? Where are they located?
They're
New York.
Yeah, no, they're British.
Oh, London.
Yeah, British band.
What? Do they live in New York? Those guys, though?
No, they were playing a show.
Oh, they were playing a show. Wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, go ahead. Finish out on this one with the tracks.
I think we're kind of doing it together. It's neat.
Yeah.
A Fool for Love. When it's time.
I like the way the wild wind blows, man. That's a ripping tune, man.
That's a great tune. That's the great opener on side 2. And you know that song, When It's Time to Rock, it has those big chanty lyrics.
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds kind of 80s, kind of, but I like it, man. It's pretty cool, man. You got to go listen to that, Butler.
Wait, which one? Which one?
The When It's Time to Rock, the
Okay.
closer on side 1.
All right, so I have something to say on that one.
Yeah.
Do you guys? Okay, so knowing Craig that you listen to this, are you familiar with Marillion at all?
Yeah.
I know the band, but I don't know their.
You know the song Garden Party at all?
No.
All right. Well, you know the song Spirit of the Radio from Rush, right? You know Spirit of the Radio.
Yeah.
The beginning of that fucking When It's Time to Rock, it sounds like they lifted Spirit of the Radio right away. It's like not the it's but the other the tempo of it. Yeah, it's there.
I hear it.
Yeah. But it's not a bad track. And then you get those, you know, I don't know if you guys remember Bob Halligan. Do you remember who that name? He's the guy in the 80s that wrote like all the Blue Oyster Cult when they got like pop, when they did all the like Revolution by Night and the Club Ninja
and all that.
Yeah, he did all those fucking like, you know, really over the top, like big chanty choruses where you got like multi-stacked vocals where they all just do the shouting thing. And it's like, usually, man, when I hear that shit, I'm like, oh God, turn it off, please. Because it's the element of the 80s I absolutely hate. But it's actually not bad on this song. It actually works for When It's Time to Rock.
Yeah, I dig it. It's a good album. I mean, Neil Carter's doing a lot of writing on it, and it just, you know, it's you're listening to Phil Mogg sing melodic lyrics, good lyrics, you know. It's hard not to listen to it. It sounds like UFO, man.
I'm gonna have to go give it another listen. I have it on vinyl, so I have to pull it out.
Yeah, I give it a tentative 6.75. It's
6.75, not a 6.73, but a 6.73.
Not a 6.73, a 7.5. Yeah, I'm always, I stay to my 0.5s. But
what's your scoring system? How do you do the scoring system?
Well, here's the thing. I go through each track and I star them with like stars. 4 stars for me, a 4-star. It should be a 5, but I just went with 4. 4 stars is a mega banger. That's a track that you can't do without. You just got to hear that track. 3 stars is a banger. That's still a killer track.
How do you tally the score up?
How do I tally it?
How do you tally it up to make it a 6.75?
Well, I have Stephen Hawking used to work for me.
All right. I suggest you Google something called the Rock and Roll Geek scoring system. It's the most accurate scoring system ever.
I didn't know there was such a thing.
Yes,
I'll check it out.
It's very famous.
All right, I'll check that out. But yeah, I like this album quite a bit more than I expected. I really love that opening track, "Blinded by Lie." Man, I dig that song. I was like, wow, like it was this song that I listened to and I like had to keep going back to a couple times. So, all right, so then there's that, and then Chapman leaves, and where does Chapman go? Do you guys remember? Does he just go do his own thing?
He went to join Wasted with Pete Way.
That's right. And Wasted did how many albums?
We could do a lot about Wasted too, because they put out some good albums.
How many albums did they do?
Well, they did
3?
3
or 4?
I was thinking 3. Yeah.
First Wasted album, Vices, not great. That's on Chrysalis. That was a contractual thing, but they put out an album called The Good, the Bad, and the Wasted. That is a fucking great rock and roll album.
Who's singing on that?
Finn, a guy named Finn. He's great.
Finn.
That guy is great. That Good, the Bad, and the Wasted album is great.
And Chapman's playing on all of them, or just
he's playing? Yeah, he plays on those 3. He plays on Vices. Paul Raymond's also on Vices, and then they did the Good and the Bad and the Wasted, and then Paul Chapman may have left after that. No, they did haven't. I think they did one more with Paul Chapman. Then they did an album with some hair metal guys. And and they did Heaven Tonight. You're in Heaven, but they redid Heaven Tonight, which was on Good, the Bad, and the Wasted. They had some hair metal guys.
I remember that.
And it's still a decent album, but that one album, Good, the Bad, and the Wasted, is a fucking great album.
I'll have to go listen to it. I probably hadn't heard that since it came out. It's been
on a label
years.
called Music for Nations.
When that Heaven Tonight, that wasn't with XYZ, was it?
I don't know XYZ. I don't know.
The dudes in XYZ?
There was a singer from one of those hair metal bands who came in.
I'm thinking it was Terry. I'm thinking it was Terry Eloise.
There's a version with Finn on it that's great. That I have to pull up Good and the Bad and the Wasted and see all the songs. But there's some really, really great rock and roll songs on that album.
All right, I'll have to check that out because I really don't. I never
Save
really.
Your Prayers was the other album. Save Your Prayers. So it was Vices, Good, the Bad, and the Wasted, and Save Your Prayers with Paul Chapman. Those three. Vice is not a great album, like I said. It was a Chrysalis thing. I don't know who sang on that.
Finn sang on it. Finn sang on that one too. Yeah.
But those three albums are worth a listen.
Did you know that Joey Tempest was involved with that?
What's that? Yeah, he might have been on that fourth album, which was called they redid Heaven Tonight on that album. I don't forget what it was called, but it's not
All or Nothing.
No, it's not the name of the album.
It's 95 was All or Nothing, 96 was Rock the Night Away.
No, it was before then.
Good, the Bad, the Waste. Save Your Prayers.
No, it's not Save Your Prayers. It is
well, the one that Joey was involved in was All or Nothing or Rock the Night.
Yeah, I don't know. I
didn't know he was involved in that. I had no idea. I always thought he was involved just strictly with Europe. So, all right, let's talk about Walk on Water and get you guys out of here quick. So, April 14th, 95. Who did they bring in after Chapman? They brought a guy in, Atomic Tommy, right?
Tommy K from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like a Fresno guy. He got introduced to the band through Mike Varney. Shrapnel Records, but Tommy, he's good, great guitar player. He brought sort of that. Yeah, he brought that American guitar sound to UFO, and great guitar player, really great guy.
Is he still around?
Yeah. He's real talented. Yeah. But
anyway. So they do that. They do
great
two
cover,
albums.
man. Though I love the cover.
That album, that cover is great. You have a that's not the original album cover.
Oh, is it not?
The original album cover is the girl. She's on a swing.
That's right. Yeah.
That album's not good, but there is one song called Just Another Saturday. The production on that album's atrocious.
The guitar tone is
really bad. It's really bad.
Way too trouble. There's a song called Blue that's pretty cool though, man.
There's a song on that album called Just Another Saturday Night that's a great tune.
Yeah.
But
they did two albums. They did that one. They did that one, and then one after. What was it called?
I think Atomic Tommy K's on the one after that. Is he?
Yeah. This Another Saturday Night is not on this album.
So that's good. Misdemeanor.
Yeah.
They must have taken it off then.
Yeah, maybe I have a different version. Anyway, we'll skip this album.
Yeah.
And we're skipping that, and we're skipping the one after, which was they did the album. Hang on one sec here.
Night Run. Night Run is on
High Stakes and Dangerous Men was the next one after this, and that was 80. That was 92, and that featured Lawrence Archer, who I think just died not too long ago.
Oh, Pete Wade came back in the band for
Lawrence Archer. No, he's not. No, he's still alive. Never mind.
He's alive. No, he played in Grand Slam with.
He was in Grand Slam and Wild Horses. Yeah, and Stampede.
Tom owns one of Lawrence Archer's V's that he had.
Huh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Michael Schenker comes back, 95.
Michael Schenker's not on High Stakes and Dangerous Men, is he?
No, he comes back after that album.
Walk on Water, yeah.
And Walk on Water is the first reunion. And I got to admit, I did not realize that he stuck around for two more albums. There were two more albums that he was on.
Sharks,
and
Covenant.
Yeah, I think that's it. Hold on.
Covenant and Sharks.
And I've never heard them.
I I was.
So I really can't say. I did listen to this one. I was kind of stunned by how heavy it is.
There's
I mean,
some
the
decent
guitar.
tunes on this album. I listened to it today just because I thought this was the only album we're going to be talking about. It's got some okay songs on it. We saw them play it. They did like a 2 or 3 night run at a place called, was it the Oasis, somewhere down in San Jose or Palo Alto.
Yeah, it was down at that Edge or whatever, the old Keystone Palo
yeah.
Alto. They did 3 nights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
Paul
a
Raymond
reunion of
came
all the
back
original band.
Raymond and Parker came back for this along with
Yeah.
Schenker, and they recorded it out in L.A. Because doesn't Schenker lives in the States now, right? Doesn't he live in L.A.?
I don't know where he lives right now, but he was living there at the time. But Ron Nevison comes in and produces this record for him.
Yeah, and it sounds Ron Nevins-y.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not
Yeah, it's
great,
good.
but it's got decent tunes on it.
Well, I
first
think
song- Yeah, go ahead.
Self-Made Man's good. Self-Made Man's really a ripper.
It's a good
Venus is really, really good. I like Venus
I like
a lot.
the song Venus.
Yeah. Darker Days, pretty solid. Dreaming of Summer, a good track too. But then they do, and I don't know whether it was contractually or what the deal was, but they fucking put Doctor and Lights Out on.
Doctor, yeah.
Yeah, and they redid it, and they did it. It sounds the same to me. I mean,
Sounds
just
fine.
a little
Sounds
heavier tone to it.
You admit you're not going to go back and you'll never go back and listen to this album for pleasure again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's solid. But like you said, Michael, how often are you going to want to go back to this? Like when you can go listen to the first 6 or 7 albums.
This guy on the YouTube, I just picked up Werewolves of London. It's UFO live in '75 with Schenker back in the day. They do a version of Venus on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, look, Schenker, man. I mean, those 4 albums, the first 4 albums, Schenker albums, Michael Schenker Group, whatever, man, you just can't touch them. There's such. We're not diverging here. I'm just saying to talk about Schenker for a minute.
You talking about Michael Schenker Group or the first UFO album?
Well, no, I'm diverting to Michael Schenker Group now.
Okay.
With this band, he was incendiary. With his own band, he was fucking, he was just hard to beat. I mean, those first 4, the Schenker Group MSG albums are absolutely amazing,
They're great. They're no UFO, but
see, now I would argue that
because they don't have Phil Mogg.
Gonna have Phil Mogg.
Well, that's true. I guess there's that. I mean, I do think that
I don't
know.
Gary Barton's Michael's favorite.
I love
singer.
Gary Barton. I love the guy. I just don't, they all suck. All the singers for Michael Schenker Group suck, but I like them all.
Well, wait, when you saw him with,
I even like what's his name, the Doog Master, Doogie White.
Doogie White. Doogie sounds like a poor man's Dio, right?
He's a Dio. He's a Dio disciple.
Yeah. How did Bonnet sound?
They all sucked. Well, actually, Ronnie, who did I just say? Doogie. Doogie was the best sounding one of all of them on the.
Actually, Robin McCauley.
Yeah, he sounded good.
Very good, but he just looked like a joker, man. He looked like he bought his clothes at like lip service or something.
He looked like a drag queen.
Yeah, what's going on with all the ink there suddenly late in life? That's kind of interesting.
Well, it's kind of like when you wear affliction clothing.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah, I remember that. Those days. Yeah. I might have one affliction shirt in my
There you go.
closet somewhere. Yeah, so okay, so we won't go through the process of we generally rank them, but I won't do that to you, although we kind of already tipped our hats a lot. I mean, if I had to do it, I'd put Obsession 1, I'd probably put Lights Out 2 and Wild Willing number 3, probably Phenomenon 4. No, Force It 4 and Phenomenon 5. You want to give a top 5 there, Craig, or you just like fuck this?
Well, my top 5 favorite UFO albums?
Yeah.
I'm
giving you time, Michael.
Obsession. No Heavy Petting. Well, we can't use Strangers in the Night, right?
No, we can't use that.
Okay. Just so you know.
Because everyone would put that one anyway.
Of course. Okay. So Obsession, No Heavy Petting, Wild Willing, Lights Out, and Force It. I mean, Force It's so great, but when I think of Force It, it's like so many songs are off Strangers, and I'd use that anyway. So
Yeah.
but more or less those albums.
Want to give it a shot, Michael?
All right, I'm gonna go Sharks. You Are Here. Number 1 would be Wild the Willing and the Innocent. Number 2 would be Lights Out. Number 3 would probably be No Place to Run.
Wow.
Number 4, Obsessions, and number 5 would be Mechanics, I think.
Wow, over Force It and Phenomenon, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so. Just those are my favorites. That's all. I love those.
If you don't want to go buy all the individual albums, you can get them here.
Yeah.
But these are kind of hard to find
is
now.
that the Essentials? Is that the Essentials series?
It's called The Chrysalis Years 80 to 86.
Chrysalis years, yeah.
And it's each of them, let's see, I'm checking here. 5 discs each. And then if you look, for example, for the first, this one here is 73 to 79.
It has all the albums on it?
Yeah, so it's got all the albums plus Strangers.
Who put that out?
And
Chrysalis release?
Chrysalis, yeah, but what's cool about it is, for example, on disc 1, they have the actual first singles that they put out. Give Her the Gun, Sweet Little Thing, right? And then they do the bonus track of Dr. single edit. Then they got the Bob Harris, like there's all kind of live stuff on here.
I don't need to get that stuff. I got the originals. I don't need that shit.
And then this one,
there's some cool bonus tracks though, like the re-releases that they have bonus tracks on. And go check out the bonus tracks on No Heavy Petting. There's a song called All the Strings Are Broken. It's pretty cool.
These are hard to find. I'm not gonna lie to you. They're going for north of $100 nowadays.
For a CD?
So, yeah, for the bot. Well, no, Craig, it's 5 CDs.
Oh, okay.
So
can
about
you put it on an MP3 and just send it to us?
Yeah,
I could do that.
Please, don't do that. That would just be wrong.
Don't do that. And I actually did want to show this real quick here because it was funny. I said it, but that's the set, the box set.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And I'm like looking at it earlier. I'm listening to it right now. I'm like, man, why couldn't that be like $25? And then I'm like, fuck.
I don't need to hear 20 versions of the same live song.
Yeah, I'm a collector. I get weird about that shit. I like to have.
I know a lot of people are.
It's the if you ever watch my show, I do a special called Collector Scum from the Sewer, where I just go through all the shit. Like I just bought not all. I need 2 more. I bought most of the 3 LP, 3 vinyl Motorhead box sets. They're the big books. Because I didn't own actually any of those Motorhead albums.
That's why you're single.
Exactly. Here, I'll show you real quick. Let's see if I can show you this. So this is my bedroom that I do this from. So first of all, that's what's on the TV. No chicks watching that show, right? The Night Stalker.
What's your porn collection look like?
I have no porn. Can you see that on the wall?
Yeah.
Yes.
House of a Bachelor. Death,
leprosy, right? And then over here, I've got Crimson Glory back there. You can't see it. Up above my bed.
Why is your room so dark?
Well, because I look like shit.
Single.
Because of my condition, I kind of keep the lights down.
Okay. Sorry.
Fates Warning right there. Can you see it? Awaken the Guardian.
Yeah.
And then over here,
you got black lights in there.
No, I have one of those. One of these
Cosmic, dude.
Cosmic,
wow.
Wow.
But here, like, look what that. Can you see that poster?
I bet you put on headphones when you're listening to your albums and
I don't. No, I don't. I'm not that geeky, man.
You smell
right back in the back corner, which you can't really. There, you can see it. Now you can see.
What are those 8 tracks?
No, that's all CDs, man.
Oh, look at that. He's a nerd.
Box sets.
What's the yellow? What's the green lights?
The green lights is my
player.
My CD player, cassette above it. But now here you can see
a cassette player with 2 UV lights or whatever.
That's an old one, man. It's the 70s one.
Man,
my dad gave it to me. You can see my Taylor. You can see all my box set, a lot of my box sets. And then it's Rainbow Rising up in the corner there.
You ever bring a girl into your house and show her that collection?
I have not. Okay, so here's the deal. I was married for 17 years. I have 2 children, 2 daughters. I then almost got married a second time to a woman that.
So she saw your CDs.
No, we were living together. We were engaged. We were buying a house.
But
And then I
she
found
told
out
him she didn't like Rush.
No, she didn't like any of the music I liked, but that was all right. That wasn't a problem. But I found out she was cheating on me, and I've never gone looking after that. I've just been like, fuck them, man. I'm gonna collect guitars and CDs and music, and I've been there, done that, man. I had some good shit in my life.
You're what's called a rock and roll geek.
Yeah, a little bit of a nerd. A little bit of a nerd. But you asked about my porn collection. No, just kidding. Does anybody have a porn collection now? Why would you have a porn collection?
I don't know.
There's fucking Pornhub. What do you need for? I can tell you guys a funny story. Okay, I'm gonna tell.
Let the record show. Your favorite website is Pornhub.
I'm gonna tell you a very funny story, and we'll wrap on this. All right.
Yeah, my wife's gonna. She's gone. She left.
So I live with my 83-year-old dad because he's fading, and because I'm on disability now because of my condition, it was just the smart thing for us to do. And I've owned 3 homes and gotten rid of them and gone through divorce, blah, blah, blah. About a year ago, May, I do all the bills, and we do our cable net. Our cable is online, right? And I get this, and generally our cable is the same every month. $128 it was.
Somebody bought SpectraVision.
I get this fucking bill, Michael. $648 for our cable. I'm like, what the
good job,
fuck?
Dad.
I pull up, I get in, I drill down. I'm like, all I see is like, Splendor in the Ass, part 4.
There you go. Good dad.
All this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go over and I'm like, hey, this is 3 o'clock in the morning. I notice his lights on. I'm like, hey, buddy, we got to have a chat.
You said that to your dad.
You better.
Okay.
You bet. I run the house here. I have to. He's
porn addict.
He's a porn addict. Dude, there was like 15 fucking charges, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Hey, man, the guy's old. Let him have his.
I'm like, bro, you got a fucking laptop.
Fuck you, man. I can die soon. I'm gonna watch porn. I'm living my life.
He's not tech savvy, man.
Okay, so that's the funny part, Craig.
An old man of his porn.
Okay, that's the funny part though. Craig hits on it. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? I'm like, what? $648. I'm like, I'm gonna have to call these people and try to, say that you're mentally ill and you don't know what you're doing with a. So he pulls this. Now he's a Trumper. I'm just gonna let you know that. So he's a Trumper, and we are very vastly opposed.
She was Michael. It's okay.
Politically, well, we're opposed politically then. Anyway, so he's sitting there, and I'm like, dude, how the fuck did you charge 18 fucking porn movies? How? And he's like, well, I got up there into that 400 section, and I hit a button, and then I just hit another button. And I'm like, dude, it's a two-way fucking system. You have to actually agree to pay the charges.
What's the 400 section?
Well, of our cable thing, cable.
There's a part of the cable network it's pay-per-view.
You have to get up into the pay-per-view to pull the porn charge.
He was doing some serious clicking, man.
Dude, he was clicking like his life depended on it.
Is it your money or his? Is it your money or his?
Oh, it was his money. He paid for it.
Let him have his phone.
Oh, I told him, I'm like, hey man, you're paying for that. I'm not, because I actually tried.
Does he beat off to it?
I don't think he can anymore. I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't really want to know. But I said, he told me that he's got issues, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you watching this shit for the storylines?
You guys never have a we don't
have a mutual jerk off session. No, it's no
porn together.
No, we don't do that.
I
don't have a Jason Segel jerk off station or anything like that. So anyway, that was a fun thing, and I actually tried to get him out of it, but they're like, well, it was on multiple days. He told me it was one day.
Yeah,
and it was on multiple days.
Said, we're going to charge you for it.
Yeah, they charge us for the whole
conversation is going right in the sewer, man.
Yeah, it sure has. Sure has. So, anyways, listen, Michael, thanks for joining us, Michael. Very cool to meet you, friend. Very, very cool to and I was right. Did I hit the number on the nose? 6 or 5?
I pissed 5 times.
5.
What would you say? 6?
I took the under. I said 6 in the under. So
all right, well, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go right. I'm getting ready to go as soon as I stop. As soon as I get out of here. So
all right, Craig, man, thank you so much for doing this, buddy. I told you I'd leave you alone for a while, but if there's a band you want to jump in on one of these days, just give me a holler. And hopefully, I don't know whether I'll be out that way or not. I'd like to get out that way. It's been, fuck, man, it's been since 2006 since I was in the Bay Area. And when I was working with Porcupine Tree doing shit for them. And so, yeah, it'd be cool to come out and hang out and catch you guys live and
get here before next week, and you can come up and sing Doctor with us.
I got 1 week to get out there. Huh? Where are you playing at? Again, yeah, tell everybody what's going on.
We're doing shows with this Led Zeppelin tribute band. Go ahead, Craig. You do the plugs.
You're doing great, Michael.
There's this really great they're probably the best Led Zeppelin tribute band you'll ever see called Zoso. Zoso.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing a few shows with them, and then we're playing another show with a female Led Zeppelin tribute band who are also great called Zepparella. Is that Zepparella? Yeah. With Gretchen Mann, who's a guitar monster and super hot too.
Oh yeah.
We're playing so we're doing some shows with those. We're playing some shows with them, and then we're doing some other shows on our own, like in March. And then Craig and I are going out with the great Handsome Dick Manitoba again soon.
And then you're doing a southern run. Where are you going there? You said
we're doing some Texas shows. Next year we're playing this thing called the Rebellion Festival in England.
Oh wow!
And we're also working on writing some tunes for Manitoba as well. Manitoba just called. Alex just wrote 3 tunes for him. My friend in Torpedo Head in Germany came up with 2 tunes. I got another couple. Yeah, so we're working on a new Manitoba album, and we're playing all the great Dictators tunes with Handsome Dick Manitoba.
That's awesome, man. I mean, you guys, when you played out east, I think the lowest you came down was New York, right, Craig? It was all
Jersey.
Yeah. Oh, you went to Jersey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were you at? Dingbats?
That's right. Yeah.
Ah, fuck, man. That's right.
Then we did New England.
Yeah, that's a little far for me to run. I remember talking to you a little bit, Craig, saying I might be able to make it out for Dingbats, but that's a good 3-hour run. But maybe if you guys get over here to like Philly or Baltimore, I'd definitely be down.
We'll get a different booking agent next time. The guy who booked us was kind of not the greatest guy, but we'll do some bigger cities next time we come.
Did the shows? Did you get good attendance? Decent.
They were small but very enthusiastic crowds.
I'm trying to remember what does pardon me, Dick Manitoba, Handsome Dick Manitoba. Who was he? Like, I know that name, but I don't know him.
It was a punk rock band called the Dictators.
The Dictators. Okay. Yep.
They were one of the very first punk rock. They were before the Ramones. And Andy Chernoff, the guy who wrote songs for the Dictators, even though Handsome Dick Manitoba and him don't like each other, that guy was one of the greatest songwriters of all time. And so they don't like each other. So Dictators are going one way, Handsome Dick the other way, and
you guys got pulled in.
Yeah.
Does he live out in San Francisco?
No, he lives in New York. He's New York to the core, but he's coming out here next week to do vocals on 2 songs. Our friends, the Judge, the Capitan brothers, have a studio in Fresno, and Manitoba's coming out to lay vocal tracks on a couple of tunes.
Awesome, man. Any other things you want to pimp while we're live here?
Go ahead, Craig.
No, man, just it's nice to talk to you, Jeff. It's nice to talk UFO, and yeah, man, it's always good seeing you. And if you come out this way, let us know.
For sure, man. Let me I'm going to end it here. Just hang on, guys. 1 second. I'm going to end the stream. Everybody that watched, thank you for tuning in. I think we had like 15 people at one point in time.
Great, 15,
which isn't bad for a late night thing like that during the week. So, thank you everybody that was popped in and threw a comment up, and we'll see. I think the only thing I've got coming up is the 21st planning to do the Marillion Hogarth era stuff. So we'll get into that in a couple weeks. I am interviewing Greg. God damn it, Wilkinson from Autopsy is coming in on Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. Also, I'm looking to get Hannes Grossman on. So,
hey, when you do the Human League retrospective, call me back. I'd love to be on that one.
Is that Don't You Want Me, Baby?
Yeah.
Don't you want me? Oh, I like that band. That's a great album. Man.
I'll geek out on Human League with you.
I love that shit, but I don't think there's going to be a retrospective.
Oh, that's too bad. So
I hang loose 1 sec, guys.
All right.